Immortal family of the Clear River. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126, A Request. After staying there for more than 2 hours, Su Ziyan returned and brought Song Qingming to the law enforcement hall of Xiaoyao sect. An old-looking foundation building cultivator was already waiting there. At Su Ziyan's reminder, Song Qingming told this person what happened again. After listening, the older foundation building cultivator said, "Junior sister Su, I have already explained this to me. Since you dare to come here, I think there should be no problem. However, this matter involves a foundation building cultivator in the sect. According to the rules of the sect, I still have to use the God-asking talisman on you before the matter can be determined." As soon as he finished speaking, the old man took out a green talisman from the storage bag and stuck it directly on Song Qingming's head, and then used a set of spells, and the green talisman instantly sank into Song Qingming's mind. Song Qingming's brain was shaken, and he felt dizzy and fell into coma. Then a blue talisman appeared in his body and wrapped his consciousness. Song Qingming felt that his consciousness and thoughts were controlled. No matter what he thought, he couldn't think of anything. "Where did you get the storage bag and jade box you handed in?" "In the mountains northwest of Pingayang County, by a small river." "Has anyone tried to murder the owner of this storage bag?" "No one did." "Who killed the owner of this storage bag?" "I don't know." After asking the 3 questions, the God-asking talisman in Song Qingming's body suddenly disappeared automatically. After a cup of tea, he slowly recovered some of his senses and woke up from his sleep. The old man used a genuine and valuable second-level God-asking talisman. It costs hundreds of spirit stones to make one. Although this kind of talisman is only an auxiliary talisman, it is extremely rare on the market. Xiaoyao sect does not have many of them in stock. If it is not a major event related to the foundation building cultivators of the sect, it will not be taken out and used casually. Seeing that Song Qingming woke up so quickly, the old foundation building master's expression also showed some surprise. He turned to Su Ziyan and said, "Using the God-asking talisman will more or less damage the cultivator's consciousness. It is difficult for ordinary Qi refining cultivators to wake up without an incense stick of time. This young cultivator must have practiced spiritual consciousness techniques." Su Ziyan didn't know whether Song Qingming had practiced spiritual consciousness techniques, but she really didn't want to cause any trouble in this law enforcement hall. She nodded carefully and then asked, "Senior Brother Joe, since the God-asking talisman has been passed, the matter is considered settled. Senior Brother Mo's relics will be handed over to Uncle Lee." The old man thought for a while and said, "I will hand over the things right away. In a few days, please help lead the way. I and several junior brothers will take you there to bring Junior Brother Mo's body back to the sect for burial. Also, since Junior Brother Mo's matter has nothing to do with this little Taoist friend, he should also get some rewards for returning the relics of the monks of this sect to the sect. After the things are returned to Junior Brother Mo's descendants, I will report this matter to Uncle Lee and inform you at that time. Please do not leave Qingming Mountain for the time being." After leaving the law enforcement hall with Su Ziyan, Song Qingming's face was pale all the way. He saw the power of the God-asking talisman for the first time, and his heart has not been able to calm down for a long time. "I have only heard of this second-level spiritual talisman before, but I didn't expect it to be so mysterious. No matter how deep your mind is, in front of this spiritual talisman, let alone Qi refining cultivators, even foundation building cultivators can't lie. If you want to fight against this spiritual talisman, unless you have the cultivation of the Golden Core Realm." Fortunately, this questioning did not involve other secrets about him, otherwise he would not be able to leave Qingming Mountain today. After living next to Su Ziyan's cave for 2 days, several Xiaoyao sect law enforcement monks, led by the old foundation building Brother Joe a few days ago, took Song Qingming directly from Su Ziyan. Several people took a flying boat and arrived in Pingayang County, thousands of miles away from Qingming Mountain, in just a few days. Under Song Qingming's guidance, they soon found the body of the younger brother Mo from a pile of rocks. Even if the body of a foundation-building monk does not decay completely for hundreds of years, the body they found was no different from when Song Qingming buried it a year ago. After returning, Song Qingming continued to live on the Lingyuan Mountain in Su Ziyan's cave for more than 10 days. The law enforcement hall then sent a Qi Refining monk to deliver a message and brought Song Qingming to the law enforcement hall again. This time Su Ziyan did not come with him, and Song Qingming felt a little uneasy along the way. After entering the hall, Song Qingming saw that in addition to the foundation building old man named Zhou who he had met several times, there was also a man in white who was younger than himself. After the foundation building elder surnamed Zhou brought Song Qingming to the man in white, he withdrew respectfully. "You are the one who sent back the relics of junior brother Mo." The man in white stepped forward and looked at Song Qingming, then spoke calmly. Upon hearing this, Song Qingming realized that the person in front of him was probably Li Wutong, the elder of the law enforcement hall of Xiaoyao sect. Report, ancestor, it was sent by the junior generation. After saying this, Song Qingming couldn't help but sweat on his forehead. Seeing that Song Qingming was frightened by him, Li Wutong blew a breeze from his hand, making Song Qingming feel a little cool instantly, and his nervous mood was relieved a little. Then Li Wutong said again, "I heard from junior brother Zhou that you are a cultivator from Qing County. This time you have traveled thousands of miles to send back junior brother Mo's relics for the sect, which is also a meritorious service. I am the boss here and can agree to a request that you can do. Tell me what spiritual object you want most, junior. I want a foundation building pill, and I hope senior can fulfill it." For some reason, when Song Qingming heard that he could make a request to giant and cultivator, he immediately thought of the foundation building pill he had been dreaming about, and blurted it out inadvertently. "Foundation building pill, you really dare to think about it?" Li Wutong glanced at the bewildered Song Qingming, and then continued, "I have a foundation building pill here. But this kind of spiritual object is far beyond the reward you can get. How about this? I will give you 2 years. If you can come up with 8,000 spirit stones, come directly to the law enforcement hall to find me, and I can exchange it for a foundation building pill. Even if I sell it to you at a discount, if you can't come up with it by then you can only take a few spirit stones as a reward. Do you think it's okay, junior? Thank you for the reward, ancestor." After hearing Li Wutong's words, Song Qingming knelt down hurriedly, thanked him profusely, and then left the law enforcement hall of Xiaoyao sect. According to Li Wutong, he had already got a chance to buy a foundation building stone, as long as he could collect 8,000 spirit stones within 2 years. Although he did not have so many spirit stones on him, with this opportunity, no matter what happened next, he had a glimmer of hope of building a foundation. After returning to Su Ziyan's sacred mountain, Song Qingming told her about this matter without reservation. After all, he was able to get this opportunity because of her help. Chapter 127, Earning Spiritual Stones. Since Song Qingming sent back the relics of the Xiaoyao sect cultivator, Su Ziyan has been looking around in the law enforcement hall these days, and finally found out the whole story. The owner of the storage bag and the jade box is called Mo Rongshan, a cultivator who has been worshipped in the Xiaoyao sect for many years. Although he is a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots, his cultivation talent is relatively average. He was able to build a foundation because he had some backers in the sect. There was an elder in Mo Rongshan's clan who happened to be a direct disciple of a giant elder in the Xiaoyao sect. After more than 60 years of building a foundation, Mo Rongshan stumbled and cultivated to the 4th level of foundation building. He was not very outstanding among the hundreds of foundation building cultivators in the Xiaoyao sect. Most of the foundation building cultivators like him who had long seen that they had no chance of forming a dam would be sent by the Xiaoyao sect to the outside market to help the sect manage the local industry. 2 years ago, during the monster riot, Mo Rongshan, who was stationed in Gaoyan County, received a mission from the sect to bring a team of Qi Refining monks to the front line to support Yanfang. Unexpectedly, a few days after they left Gaoyan County, Mo Rongshan's soul lamp suddenly went out in the sect. At that time, all the high-level monks in the sect had tasks, and they could only send a few foundation-building monks to search along the way, but they didn't find any traces. They thought they were killed by the attack of high-level monsters. Unexpectedly, not long after, news came from Gaoyan County that the patriarch of a foundation-building family in the territory, the Hu family, took away most of the spiritual objects in the family, and inexplicably abandoned his own people and fled from Uyghur. It was more than a month later that the remaining monks of the Hu family discovered that their only foundation-building ancestor and many important spiritual objects in the family had suddenly disappeared. For this reason, they were unaware of it and foolishly invited the monks of the Xiaoyao sect to investigate the matter. After the investigation, It was discovered that the head of the Hu family had followed Mo Rongshan and his group and left Gaoyang County that day. Not long after returning, he disappeared. Xia Oyo sect accidentally found out the truth. It turned out that the head of the Hu family coveted a spiritual object on Mo Rongshan's body, so he took the risk and colluded with several casual cultivators from other places to attack Mo Rongshan and his group. Afterwards, under the thunderous anger of Xia Oyo sect, the Hu family of Gaoyang County was completely expelled from the family, and all the cultivators were sent to the Xia Oyo sect mines to serve for many years. However, Xia Oyo sect has issued a wanted order in several nearby countries for more than a year, but has not yet found the escaped head of the Hu family and her accomplices. Fortunately, after you got Brother Mo's relics, you didn't greedily touch the restrictions on them. I later learned that the jade box contained a powerful spiritual object in the sect. There was a powerful restriction on it set by a giant and elder of the sect. If I didn't know how to operate the spell and rashly touch the restrictions on it, even I, who am now, might die on the spot. Is it so powerful? Hearing Su Ziyan talk about the danger in the jade box, Song Qingming also took a breath of cold air. After getting the things, he really tempted to be greedy a few times, but because his cultivation was too low, he was not sure that he could break the restrictions on it with his own means, and he couldn't take it out and ask others for help. After thinking about it, Song Qingming finally sent the things back to Xia Oyo sect, thinking that even if he couldn't exchange them for some rewards, he could always make a name for himself in Xia Oyo sect. If he was luckier, he might be able to find some ways to exchange for foundation building pills. To be honest, he himself did not expect that he would actually get a chance to exchange for a foundation building pill this time. Although it was still difficult for him to collect 8,000 spirit stones in 2 years, he still had a water spirit fruit in his hand. If he still couldn't collect it in 2 years, he could only take it out and give it a try. I really didn't expect that you actually got a chance to exchange for a foundation building pill from Master Li. If I had your good luck back then, I wouldn't have to risk my life to break through the foundation building realm. Seeing that Song Qingming was still thinking about something, Su Ziyan joked to him again. Song Qingming shook his head and smiled bitterly. If you can't gather so many spirit stones within 2 years, it's just empty talk. 8,000 spirit stones are not such a simple thing for me. After hearing what Song Qingming said, Su Ziyan thought for a while and said, Fellow Daoist Song, if you really can't come up with so many spirit stones by then, I can also help you introduce this opportunity to other sex cultivators. Then you can at least get a few thousand spirit stones, which is better than the law enforcement hall just giving you 200 spirit stones to send you away. Thank you, Captain. If that's the case, it's also because my luck has not come yet. I'll ask the captain to help me and take care of it then. After that, Song Qingming took out a small jade bottle from the storage bag, handed it to Su Ziyan and continued, I've been taken care of by the captain these days on the mountain. I came in a hurry this time and didn't prepare any good gifts. I brought this pill specially from Qing County. I hope Captain Su won't dislike it. Is this Huayan pill? Something seems wrong. It shouldn't be an ordinary Huayan pill. Su Ziyan took a look at the pill and put it aside. She asked with a look of displeasure on her face. It is indeed not an ordinary Huayan pill. It was made by a sister in my family based on an ancient prescription. The effect is several times better than the ordinary Huayan pill. Seeing Su Ziyan's expression was not right, Song Qingming thought she was not very interested in Huayan pill, so he hurriedly explained a few words awkwardly. It doesn't matter. Although this kind of pill is useless to me, the disciples below have wanted it for a long time. You sent it in time. Thank you, Brother Song. Su Ziyan nodded and said calmly, and asked the female disciple with shining eyes to collect the pill given by Song Qingming. After staying in the cave for a while, Song Qingming said goodbye to Su Ziyan and returned to Yangshanfeng under Qi Mountain. Song Qingming first rented a cave on the west side of the market for a long time, and then sent a letter to his family, saying that he would stay in Qi Mountain to find a way to earn spirit stones, and would not return to Funiu in the next 2 years. In the letter, Song Qingming briefly described the process of returning the relics of Mo Rongshan, so that the people in Funiu would not worry if he did not go back for a long time. Next, he would start to prepare to exchange the spirit stones for the foundation building pill. When he came from Qing County, Song Qingming had a total of 4,600 spirit stones on him. He had been wandering around Yangshanfeng for a few days before, spending 500 spirit stones. After renting the cave, He had exactly 4,000 spirit stones left. If he wanted to get enough spirit stones to exchange for the foundation building pill, he had to get at least 4,000 spirit stones. In the next few days, Song Qingming began to hang around in Yangshan market, and took all the spiritual objects he had that could be sold to the market to sell. Even the white jade sword and black gold shield that had been with him for many years were exchanged for spiritual stones. Song Qingming also sold 2 of the 3 second-level magic weapons he obtained when he explored the senior's cave with Chen Liudao, which made him collect more than 2,000 spiritual stones. Chapter 128 Meeting Du Yuchen again. After selling most of the spiritual objects on him, he still had a gap of 2,000 spiritual stones left, and he could only rely on himself to make talismans. Fortunately, the market in Yangshan was large enough, and there was no shortage of talisman-making materials or shops that bought spiritual talismans. Song Qingming relied on the ability of the incomplete map to continuously make talismans, and earned more than 400 spiritual stones in half a year. If everything goes well, he should be able to save more than 1,000 spiritual stones in a year and a half. By then, he almost sold the last second-level magic weapon on him, and that should be enough. Just as Song Qingming was moving forward step by step according to the plan, his third brother Song Qing's suddenly came to Yangshan to find him, wanting to invite him to help carry out a sect mission. Every disciple in the Xiaoyao sect relies on the sect's good deeds to exchange for various spiritual objects in the sect's treasury, including the foundation building pill. 2 years ago, when the monsters were rioting, Xiaoyao sect killed 3 monster kings in total. After spending 2 years gathering other auxiliary spiritual medicines, they were able to refine more than 40 foundation building pills. In addition to using some to compensate the descendants of the foundation building cultivators who died in the battle, many foundation building pills flowed into the sect's warehouse. In order to speed up the training of new foundation building cultivators to replenish the sect's blood, the elders of the Xiaoyao sect's Good Merit Hall deliberately lowered the exchange price of the foundation building pills. This soon caused a stir in the Xiaoyao sect, and many Qi Refining level 9 disciples in the sect began to run around to earn good merits, just to gather the good merits needed to exchange for foundation building as soon as possible. There are many sect tasks in the General Affairs Hall of Xiaoyao sect, but the task that can earn a lot of merit the fastest is to hunt various monsters in the sect territory. Although the merits of hunting monsters above level 2 can be earned quickly, it is impossible for a cultivator in the Qi Refining stage to complete it alone, so everyone can only spontaneously form a team to work together to have a chance. A level 2 monster has always earned 2,000 to 3,000 merits. Even if several people share it equally, it is much more than other tasks. Song Kings came to Song Qingming this time because he and several fellow disciples accepted a task from the Good Merit Hall not long ago to hunt a level 2 low-grade monster next to Guian County. After accepting the task, Song Kings has found 6 people willing to work together, but facing a level 2 monster, several people in the team still feel that there are too few people, so Song Kings had no choice but to come to Yangshan to ask Song Qingming for help. Although the sect mission prohibits everyone from inviting outsiders to help, the places to receive such missions are all thousands of miles away in the wilderness. If you don't tell us whether there are outsiders to help, no one will know, and it is impossible for the sect's top leaders to come to investigate such things. Qingming, as long as you are willing to help this time, we will give you 50 spirit stones each after completing the mission, which adds up to 300 spirit stones. This should be worth your effort. After meeting Song Qingming, Song Kings told him the matter straight to the point. This time, Song Kings came to Yangshan Square to invite Song Qingming, and Song Kings still showed enough sincerity. To be honest, Song Qingming didn't want to go out and take risks at this time, but he came to Xiaoyao sect this time to get the opportunity to exchange for foundation building pills, and his third brother Song Kings also helped him a lot. It was really hard to refuse. In addition, he happened to be short of spirit stones, and there was an opportunity to earn spirit stones quickly. After thinking about it, he agreed to Song Kings. After Song Qingming packed up, he and Song Kings quickly left Yangshan. After leaving the market, they walked south for a long time and met other monks who participated in the mission in a roadside pavilion. These people were all disciples of Xiaoyao sect, and their cultivation was the same as the 9th level of Qi Refining. There was a man and a woman standing together, as if they were a Taoist couple. The remaining 3 were all men, of different heights, and about the same age as Song Kings. One of them looked familiar to Song Qingming. After taking a closer look, he remembered that this person was Du Yuchen, a monk from the Du family who had participated in the Liu family mission with him more than 10 years ago. When Song Qingming came back from the floating cloud mountains, he also heard about Du Yuchen, but the news from the Du family had always been that Du Yuchen disappeared after the mission, and Song Qingming didn't expect him to appear here. Du Yuchen here didn't seem to recognize Song Qingming. He just glanced at him casually and turned his eyes away. He looked the same as he did more than 10 years ago, and he still didn't like to talk. After Song Qing's greeted several people, he briefly introduced Song Qingming to everyone, and then introduced other people to Song Qingming. The Taoist couple, the man's name is Liu Kaiding, and the woman's name is Meng Ran. They are both cultivators from Guian County. They joined Zhuo sect at a very young age. The other two, a tall man named Gu Feng, was born in Huaishan County in the south of Wei State. The shorter Taoist priest also came from Guian County. He was Song King's best friend in Zhuo sect, Wei Wuang, who is also a top-grade formation master. The remaining one was the silent Du Yuchen. Song King's recognized him when he formed a team, but they didn't have much communication when they were in Qing County. Song King's only knew that Du Yuchen suddenly joined Zhuo sect after his disappearance when they formed a team not long ago. Although they both came from Qing County, they didn't have much communication after joining Zhuo sect. It was not until this team formation that the two got to know each other again. After hearing Song King's introduction, Du Yuchen pretended to react and greeted Song Qingming with a smile. Song Qingming also responded to him calmly. After seeing Du Yuchen, Song Qingming suddenly felt a little uneasy. When fighting against the silver-armored crab monster in the floating cloud mountains, Song Qingming knew that Du Yuchen, like him, disappeared after being swept into the pool. He was not sure whether Du Yuchen would know that he had picked up Liu Xianlong's storage bag in the pool. A group of 6 Zhuo sect monks, plus Song Qingming, made up exactly 7 people. After walking south for 6 days, they finally came to a big river. Following the river, they walked upstream for dozens of miles, and a high mountain appeared in front of everyone. The task they took on this time was to deal with a second-level low-grade flowing flower leopard that had been entrenched here for many years. This flowing flower leopard has occupied a second-level spiritual vein in the south of Li River, and occupied this area that originally belonged to the human race under its feet. The flowing flower leopard was a monster that liked to be alone, unlike the second-level monsters that like to drive a group of low-level monsters. This was why they dared to fight this second-level monster. Their team was all top cultivators in the Qi Refining realm. The lowest among the 7 was the 9th level of Qi Refining. Some of them had already broken through the 9th level of Qi Refining for many years. Liu Kaiding even had a second-level magic weapon. With a second-level formation borrowed from Wei Wuang, they were very confident that they could kill this monster. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129, 4 Elephants Trap Dragon Formation. After everyone arrived at a destination, Wei Wuang, the formation master, walked around the foot of the mountain and chose a better ambush location, preparing to set up the second-level formation he brought here. Under the command of the third brother Song King's, except for Gu Feng and Song Qingming, who knew the formation and stayed to help Wei Wuang set up the formation, the other 4 went to the Liu River not far away to look for blood food that could lure the monster into the formation. The second-level formation brought by Wei Wuang, called the 4 Elephants Trap Dragon Formation, is a second-level low-grade enemy trapping formation. When monks deal with powerful monsters, this auxiliary enemy trapping formation is very useful. More than 10 years ago, the Liu family organized a battle to hunt second-level monsters in the floating cloud mountains, and the golden net demon subduing formation used was a similar formation. After the 3 spent more than half an hour to set up the formation, Song King's and his friends successfully found the bait and returned here with a 3-foot-long strange fish. The reason why the Liu Huabao occupied this spiritual vein was because it liked to devour a first-level monster called the flying carp in the nearby Liu River. Every once in a while, it would go down the mountain to the nearby Liu River to prey on this monster. The flying carp, a fish monster, tastes very delicious after being made into spiritual food. When Song Qingming was in Gianfang, he often went to Xianfang Lao to taste this delicacy. It was a pity that he never enjoyed it again after returning to Qing County in the past few years. After killing the flying carve, he threw it into the arranged formation, and then everyone sprinkled some of the flying carp's blood around to increase the smell of monster's ear. The nose of the Liu Huabao monster is very sensitive, and the smell of blood can be smelled more than 10 miles away. Soon, the smell of the flying carp was transmitted to the lair of the Liu Huabao with a breeze. Soon, a strong pressure came to the place where everyone was ambushing. Seeing the Liu Huabao, which was more than 10 feet long, everyone was still a little nervous. When Liu Huabao saw the body of Fishin carve, he did not rush to taste this delicacy. He looked around first, and when he saw that there were no other monsters around, he walked into the four elephants dragon trapping formation. Unexpectedly, this monster was quite cautious. Fortunately, Wei Wuang had set up an extra concealment formation in advance to hide everyone's figures in advance, so as not to expose everyone's position in advance. Just after swallowing Fishin carp into his stomach, a white mist suddenly rose from the ground around Liu Huabao, and then a yellow earth dragon emerged from the ground and tightly wrapped around Liu Huabao. Liu Huabao was frightened by the sudden attack and was a little flustered. He used his claws to pull the earth dragon off his body, but before he could breathe a sigh of relief, another yellow earth giant turtle of the same size as him pounced on him and pressed him to the ground again. After the earth dragon that Liu Huabao had just torn off fell to the ground, it quickly solidified its body and rolled towards Liu Huabao, followed by two puppet-like birds and tigers. Everyone, hurry up and do it. You can't kill it with just the formation, with Wei Wuang's shout. Except for the three formation masters who had just set up the formation and were responsible for controlling the formation, Song Kings and the rest of the people raised their magic weapons and killed the Liu Hu leopard that was entangled with several Lois puppets. The Liu Hu leopard is a monster that excels in speed. After being trapped by the four symbols dragon trapping formation, it is difficult to exert its speed. Facing the siege of Song Kings and others, it can only rely on its own body to resist. Although Song Kings and others are all top-level Qi refining cultivators, the damage caused by their attacks to the Liu Hu leopard is still very limited. After all, this is a second-level monster, and its defense is far from comparable to that of a monster in the Qi refining period. While dealing with the containment of the formation puppets, the Liu Hu leopard can also continuously release sharp spells to counterattack Song Kings and others who besieged it. The people who were besieging the monster beast in front of them had been attacking continuously. Although they had caused a lot of damage to the leopard, they were still some distance away from taking down the monster beast. Among the four people responsible for the attack, Song Kings and Liu Kaiding had broken through the 9th level of Qi refining for many years. They were the main force attacking the monster beast. Diachen and Mengran were similar to Song Qingming. They had only cultivated to the 9th level of Qi refining in the past 1 or 2 years. Their strength was a little worse. They could only keep restraining the energy of the leopard. After another half an hour, Song Qingming and the other two who controlled the formation had consumed most of their mana, and they began to feel a little anxious. Fortunately, the energy of the leopard had been almost consumed by them at this time, and the spells it released had also become much weaker, and it gradually began to lose the ability to fight back. Seeing that the time was ripe, Liu Kaiding put away the top-grade flying sword in his hand and retreated to the side. He raised his hand and sacrificed a purple bow, pouring his mana into it crazily. You two, step aside first. I will kill this monster. Liu Kaiding's purple bow was a second-level low-grade magic weapon. Its attack power was amazing, but there was one disadvantage, which was that the casting speed was slightly slower. It was easy to be interrupted when using it. That was why he didn't dare to use it at first. Mengran and Liu Kaiding had known each other for many years. When he saw Liu Kaiding take out the purple bow, he immediately moved in front of him, released the defensive magic weapon in his hand, and protected Liu Kaiding behind him, blocking several spells cast by the leopard. As Liu Kaiding's spiritual power continued to be injected into the purple bow, a green arrow soon appeared on it. With a crisp sound, the arrow shot out quickly and hit a leopard that was entangled by the formation puppet in a blink of an eye. The arrow went straight through the huge body of the leopard, leaving a fist-sized blood hole. The blood also splashed all over the ground, making it unable to stand firm and lying on the ground. This direct attack almost killed the leopard. Liu Kaiding stunned everyone and they all looked at him in awe. They didn't expect that the second-level magic weapon on him was so powerful that it caused such great damage to a second-level monster with just one attack. Liu Kaiting and Meng Ran were no longer surprised by the gazes of the crowd. This second-level magic weapon was made by a highly skilled weapon refiner in Liu Kaiting's family. Since he cultivated to the 9th level of Qi Refining and used this magic weapon, it was not the first time he used it to kill a second-level monster. Every time he used it, it basically achieved this effect. Be careful, the monster is still alive. Song Kings thought that the leopard was dead and was about to go forward to check. Unexpectedly, the leopard stood up again. Seeing this, Song Kings shouted to remind everyone. After Liu Huabiao roared angrily and scared away Song Kings, it turned around and rushed towards Song Qingming and the other two who were controlling the formation on the other side. This sudden change also shocked everyone. Chapter 130 Hidden Deeply. What they didn't expect was that although Liu Kaiting's attack just now hit the Liu Hu leopard, it also smashed several formation puppets that entangled it, allowing the already dying monster to temporarily break free from the formation. Trapped in the formation for so long, the Liu Hu leopard had already discovered the people outside who were controlling the formation. Once it got rid of the formation control, it immediately directed its anger at Song Qingming and the other two who were still controlling the formation. Seeing that the Liu Hu leopard was about to rush towards the defenseless Song Qingming and the other two, Song Kings and the others hurriedly chased after it, but they were much slower than the Liu Hu leopard, and they couldn't catch up for a while, and couldn't stop the Liu Hu leopard. Fortunately, there was an inconspicuous jiucheng between the Liu Hu leopard and Song Qingming and the other two. It would take some time for the four elephants dragon-trapped formation to recondense the formation puppet. As long as Du Yuchen could temporarily restrain the Liu Hu leopard, the formation puppet would be able to block the Liu Hu leopard's attack again after it was generated. Unexpectedly, Du Yuchen, seeing the Liu Hu leopard rushing towards this side, did not even think of stopping it, and simply stepped aside. The three people who were still controlling the formation saw this situation, and they were so angry that they almost vomited blood. They really wanted to curse at him. Wei Wuang, who had been mainly responsible for controlling the formation, was the first to suffer. The shield light on his body was smashed to pieces by the angry Liu Hu leopard, who rushed in front of him, and half of his head was slapped to the ground. Gu Feng and Song Qingming took advantage of this time buffer and quickly dropped the formation flags in their hands and retreated to both sides. Gu Feng quickly sacrificed a blue top-grade defensive talisman with his big hand, blocking several spell attacks from the Liu Hu leopard. Song Qingming also immediately released a giant bear puppet beast he had just obtained to block in front of him. The giant bear puppet beast used its arms to forcefully open a yellow barrier, and also blocked 4 or 5 attacks flying towards him. Fortunately, this Liu Hu leopard was already at the end of its strength. The blow that just killed Wei Wuang also consumed its remaining strength. It no longer had the ability to continue chasing Gu Feng and Song Qingming. It could only stand still and release those spell attacks that had been greatly reduced in power. These were easily blocked by Song Qingming and the others. At the same time, Song Kings and Liu Kaiting also caught up. The three of them worked together from behind to knock the Liu Hu leopard to the ground again. After struggling hard for a few times, the Liu Hu leopard failed to stand up again and was soon beheaded by Song Kings with a sword. After seeing your brother Wei killed the Liu Hu leopard, Song Kings looked at Wei Wuang's miserable corpse, and his face was instantly filled with grief. After choosing to join the Xiaoyao sect, Song Kings basically lost contact with his relatives and clansmen, and came alone to this strange place thousands of miles away. Wei Wuang was not only his fellow disciple, but also a brother who took good care of him. The two of them had no relatives in Xiaoyao sect, and they had always had a good relationship. They didn't expect that he would die here so unexpectedly. Song Qingming and Gu Feng looked at each other. They had just saved their lives. If the leopard had attacked them first, they would have had a hard time dealing with it. But in the final analysis, Du Yucheng had a chance to save the three of them. No one expected that this guy would shrink aside immediately when facing danger, and didn't even think about trying to save his teammates. What made Song Qingming even more angry was that after Du Yucheng saw Wei Wuang's death, his face also showed a very sad look like everyone else. On the surface, it seemed that Wei Wuang's death had nothing to do with his fellow disciple. Fortunately, only Song Qingming and Gu Feng saw this situation clearly. Otherwise, if Song Kings knew about this, he would probably turn against Du Yucheng right away. Seeing that Gu Feng had no intention of speaking, Song Qingming thought about it and didn't say much. Although Song Kings and himself had a special relationship, after all, they were all from the same sect, it was definitely not a wise move for an outsider like him to sow discord between them. If there was a chance, I would still remind my third brother not to get too close to Du Yuchen. Originally, in Song Qingming's eyes, Du Yuchen had always been a person with no sense of existence. If Song Qingming hadn't picked up Liu Xianlong's storage bag and knew that Du Yuchen and Wu Ziyun had fallen into the pool with him, and later paid special attention to the situation of the two, when he first saw Du Yuchen a few days ago, Song Qingming would not have recognized him at first sight. It was not until just now that Song Qingming had a new understanding of Du Yuchen. Song Qingming felt that there was something about Du Yuchen that made him very far behind. He was too good at hiding his true self. The honest and taciturn Du Yuchen more than 10 years ago, and the sad Du Yuchen facing Wei Wuang's body, now seemed not to be the real him. But Du Yuchen acted really well and hid his true intentions well. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Song Qingming would have been deceived by his current appearance again. Now Song Qingming can finally confirm one thing. After returning from the floating cloud mountains, the Liu family was expelled from the Xiaoyao sect, and Du Yuchen appeared in the Xiaoyao sect again. These two things should be related. Du Yuchen was able to join the Xiaoyao sect and cultivate to the 9th level of Qi Refining so quickly. He must have had a great opportunity. After the Liu family got into trouble, Song Qingming never figured out how the Xiaoyao sect knew about this. Now it seems that it must have been Du Yuchen who reported it. Otherwise, how could he become an inner disciple of the Xiaoyao sect so quickly with his qualifications? Du Yuchen should not have known that he had obtained Liu Xianlong's storage bag. Otherwise, since Du Yuchen could use the entire Liu family as a springboard to join the Xiaoyao sect, how could he let go of himself who had obtained the water spirit fruit? After collecting the body of Wei Wuang, the group collected the materials from the leopard and immediately set off to return to Qingming Mountain without delay. Although one person was lost this time, after completing the mission, each of the Xiaoyao sect monks who participated in the mission could get hundreds of merit points. Except for Song Kings, the others were very happy. Although Song Qingming did not get Wei Wuang's share, he also got 250 spirit stones, which really solved some of his urgent needs for him who was in urgent need of spirit stones. After returning to Qingming Mountain, Song Qingming said goodbye to everyone and returned to Yangshanfang alone, and started his schedule of making talismans in the market to earn spirit stones. After meeting Du Yuchen this time, Song Qingming also changed his plan. Since the demise of the Liu family was related to Du Yuchen, it was indeed dangerous to take the water spirit fruit on his body directly to Xiaoyao sect to exchange for the foundation building pill. If the old things more than 10 years ago were turned up, the entire Song family might repeat the mistakes of the Liu family. It is better to collect enough spirit stones to exchange for a foundation building pill first. If I fail to build the foundation, I can take the water spirit fruit to other places to think of a solution. Chapter 131 Song Changfen. After returning to Yangshanfang, Song Qingming's mood gradually calmed down. It was less than 2 years since he broke through to the 9th level of Qi Refining. The accumulated mana in his body was far less than that of his third brother Song King's. Even if he got the foundation building pill immediately, it would be unlikely to build a foundation immediately. At least he would have to polish the mana in his body for a period of time. It would not be good for him to be too anxious now. Although he earned more than 200 spiritual stones this time, he almost lost his life. Before building a foundation, he absolutely could not take such a risk. The way of cultivating immortals is to practice hard behind closed doors. It is definitely not possible without certain opportunities. But under the premise of conditions, try to hide in a safer place and practice steadily. This is the best route. After staying in the market for more than half a year, Song Qingming gradually let go of his anxiety. After living in Yangshanfang for more than a year, he also found some ways to earn spiritual stones. Now the talismans he made have some reputation in the market, and have many regular customers. He also found a store willing to cooperate for a long time. For the time being, he will not worry about the sales of the talismans. With a continuous talisman making, his talisman making skills have improved a lot again. Whether it is a medium-grade talisman or a high-grade talisman, the success rate has now exceeded 50%, which has greatly accelerated his speed of earning spiritual stones. It is estimated that he will be able to collect the spiritual stones he needs in another half a year. One day, Song Qingming came back from setting up a stall outside. Just as he walked to the cave he rented, he saw a familiar figure. "Sixth uncle, why are you in Yangshan Fang?" Seeing Song Changfeng, who was wearing a dusty outfit and smiling at him, Song Qingming stood still for a moment, and a trace of warmth in his heart could not help but quickly rise. Seeing that Song Qingming had been standing there without moving, Song Changfeng walked up and patted his shoulder, and said calmly, "It's not convenient to talk outside, so let's go to your cave." Song Qingming nodded awkwardly, quickly adjusted his mood, and led Song Changfeng into his cave. "Qingming, you are too bold. You have kept such a big thing in your heart and didn't tell us for such a long time. When I received a letter from you, I didn't dare to show it to my fourth uncle at first." Song Qingming had just closed the door of the cave, and Song Changfeng immediately started to scold him kindly. "Sixth uncle, you have come all the way here, don't get angry, or drink some hot tea to cool down." After Song Qingming recovered, he immediately changed into a playful smile. "What's the point of me getting angry with you? Except for King Qi, all of you brothers are worrying. In the past few years, even King Gayu has learned bad things and sneaks down the mountain at any time. King Gayu, this girl, has she broken through the late stage of Qi Refining?" When Song Qingming heard Song Changfeng mention the quirky little girl at home, he couldn't help but interrupt the words of this elder. "This child has good talent. She has made a breakthrough not long ago. I didn't tell her when I came to see you this time, otherwise she would have insisted on coming out with me again." Speaking of Song Qinggai's talent for cultivation, Song Changfeng's tone was still somewhat relieved. "Have you collected enough to exchange for the foundation building pill?" After chatting for a while, Song Changfeng asked about the biggest problem Song Qingming was facing at the moment. "Not yet. I have sold a lot of things during this period and have collected a few thousand spirit stones, but there is still a lot to go. It's not just to earn a few more spirit stones that I work hard to make talismans every day. My family won't know about my affairs, right?" Song Changfeng later knew about the fact that Song Qingming had obtained a lot of spiritual objects in Funiu Mountain that year. He knew that Song Qingming had a lot of good things. Not to mention anything else, those few second-level magic tools could at least sell for 1 or 2,000 spirit stones in the market. He was not surprised that Song Qingming could collect thousands of spirit stones at once. Song Changfeng shook his head and replied, "Only a few elders in the clan know about this for now. I came here to bring you some spirit stones. These were decided after discussing with the elders. Although it's not much, it's also the family's intention. You wanting to build your foundation is also a big deal for the family. Even if you don't ask, we certainly can't ignore you at all." After saying that, Song Changfeng took out a bag of spirit stones from the storage bag on his waist and put it on the stone table where the two of them were drinking tea. It looked like there were hundreds of them. Looking at the spirit stones on the table, although Song Qingming had been prepared in his heart, he still couldn't help moistening his eyes and lowered his head to put away the heavy bag of spirit stones. Seeing that Song Qingming accepted the spirit stones, Song Changfeng breathed a sigh of relief, nodded slightly, and continued, "Have you met Kings? Is he okay? Third brother is so talented, naturally he is practicing faster than me. He is already preparing for building his foundation." The uncle and nephew chatted about family matters for a while, and the pot of tea slowly ran out. "Qingming, there are still some things in the clan, and it is not convenient for me to stay outside for a long time. You should be more careful when you are alone outside. We all understand that you want to fight for the path, but the clan is weak and there is not much we can do to help you. It doesn't matter if you really can't exchange for the foundation building pill. Go back as soon as possible to avoid everyone's worry. Thank you for your teachings, Uncle Six. Qingming knows how to advance and retreat. In this way, I am relieved." After handing the spirit stones he brought with him to Song Qingming, Song Changfeng's purpose of this trip had been achieved. After patiently exhorting Song Qingming for a few words, he got up and left Song Qingming's cave and returned directly to Funiu Mountain. Looking at the generous back of Uncle Six, Song Qingming's heart became more determined to build his foundation. He opened the bag and counted the spirit stones sent by Uncle Six. There were more than 300 pieces. As a small Qi refining family like the Song family, these were already a lot. A year ago, he wrote a letter to his family, only to inform Song Changfeng that he had an opportunity to exchange for the foundation building pill by exchanging the relics of the Zioao sect cultivators, and he did not ask the clan for spirit stones. Because when the clan leader Song Changfeng took over, He had made it clear in the family meeting that the clan would not invest too many resources in one person in the future. For this reason, Song Qingming did not consider asking the clan for help in his plan to raise spirit stones. Unexpectedly, for this matter, the sixth uncle, the head of the Song clan, would break the rules he set himself and send him hundreds of spirit stones from afar. When Song Qingming saw Song Changfeng standing outside the cave waiting for him, he had actually guessed the purpose of Song Changfeng's visit. Although these spirit stones were far from enough for him to exchange for the foundation building pill, this friendship really touched him deeply. The 300 spirit stones sent by Song Changfeng, plus the ones he had on him, were almost enough for 8,000 spirit stones. Chapter 132 Marrow Cleansing Pill. After collecting enough spiritual stones, Song Qingming was not in a hurry to go to Xiaoyao sect to exchange for foundation building pills. Anyway, there was still a year left, so he didn't need to be too anxious. Since the spiritual stones were no longer a big problem, he should make some preparations for foundation building in advance. Song Qingming was only a pseudo-spiritual root. Although he already had a foundation building pill, to be honest, he still lacked confidence. Fortunately, in the world of immortal cultivation, in addition to foundation building pills, there were many spiritual objects that could help increase the probability of foundation building. The Qingming pill that he risked his life to bring back from Funiu Mountain for Su Zian was one of them. Although this kind of spiritual pill was far less effective than the foundation building pill, it was still useful when taken with the foundation building pill. Most people who were preparing to build a foundation would prepare some of these spiritual objects, regardless of whether they had the foundation building pill or not. After making up his mind, Song Qingming came to Xiandan Pavilion, the largest pill shop in Yangshanfang. Xiandan Pavilion was a shop specializing in selling pills. It was very famous in Yangshanfang and almost monopolized 1/3 of the pill business in the largest market in Uyghur. As soon as he entered the door, a waiter at the 5th level of Qi Refining came up to him. When he saw Song Qingming, he immediately recognized him. "Oh, sir, you are here again, but you still need some pills to improve your cultivation. The pills from last time were quite effective, right?" Song Qingming had come here once a month ago. Although he had a lot of spirit stones on him at that time, he was going to go to Xiaoyao sect to exchange them for foundation building pills. He just bought some ordinary pills. It was this waiter who received him at that time. When he saw a young cultivator at the 9th level of Qi Refining coming in, he thought he was a disciple of the inner sect of Xiaoyao sect with a high status and that he had come to do big business. Unexpectedly, Song Qingming paid the bill with just a dozen spirit stones. The waiter looked disappointed at him at that time, and Song Qingming still had a deep impression of it. With a few hundred spirit stones on him, he was finally able to be generous this time when he came to Xiandan Pavilion. After entering the door, he sat down on the wooden chairs on both sides of the store to entertain guests. "Hey, buddy. Do you have any foundation building pills?" This calm voice, like thunder, exploded in the ears of the clerk. After hearing the 3 words foundation building pills, he was stunned on the spot. "Sir, I don't think I heard clearly what pills you just mentioned. I asked you if you have foundation building pills for sale here." Song Qingming asked him again with a serious face. "Foundation building pills, sir, you are joking. How can you bring such things to a small shop to sell?" The clerk patiently replied to Song Qingming, but he was already despising him in his heart. He is so stingy with more than a dozen spirit stones, and he asked about foundation building pills. This person really doesn't know his own limitations. "Oh, no foundation building pills, then is there any spirit pill that can assist in foundation building?" Seeing that the clerk's face was about to turn red, Song Qingming stopped teasing him and spoke out the real purpose of his coming here. "My friend, if you want spiritual items for foundation building, why don't you come to the back hall of our store and have a chat?" The waiter was about to speak, but an old man in green robe came over and interrupted him. Seeing the powerful aura emanating from the old man, Song Qingming's face was shocked, and he stood up from the wooden chair in an instant. He couldn't help but curse himself in his heart. "No way, I just teased the waiter. How did I provoke a foundation building cultivator?" The old man in green robe waved his hand at the waiter and said, "You go down and entertain the others first. I will entertain this friend." The waiter nodded hurriedly and immediately stepped aside. "How dare I trouble you to condescend to entertain me, senior? I am really a little nervous. Please forgive me." After Song Qingming stood up, he quickly bowed to the old man. Seeing Song Qingming was a little nervous, The old man in green robe stroked his short gray beard and said with a smile, "My friend, please don't be too polite. Our Shyandon Pavilion is just a place for doing business. There are not so many red tapes here. We only care whether we can make a deal. Please move to the back hall. No matter what your needs are, as long as you can pay the equivalent of spiritual stones, we will try our best to meet them." After saying this, the old man in green robe raised his hand and pointed to a small door on the side of the store, and walked over. Although he was a little scared, Song Qingming still didn't dare to offend a foundation building cultivator casually. He could only bite the bullet and follow the old man in green robe to a secret room in the back hall of Shyandon Pavilion. After all, it was in a place like Yangshan Fang, under the eyes of Xiaoao sect. The last time he injured someone in the market, his bones had turned into ashes. Even if this old man in green robe was a foundation building cultivator, he would not dare to harm him here. After entering the room, two maids soon brought 2 cups of fragrant spiritual tea. After a while, the maids left and there was no one else in the room. The old man in green robe continued to speak. "I wonder if you came to my Shyandon Pavilion to buy foundation building pills or other foundation building spiritual objects." Song Qingming calmed down and said carefully, "I did come here for foundation building spiritual objects, but because I heard people say that there are foundation building pills here in the market before, I just asked one more question. Please forgive me for my abruptness." "Oh. So that's the case. Our store does sell a second-level spiritual pill that assists in foundation building, called Ziso pill. This pill can cleanse the bones and marrow and enhance the physical fitness of some cultivators. When building the foundation, using this pill can at least increase the probability of the cultivator's foundation building by half. However, recently, because the number of cultivators who have built their foundations in Xiaoao sect has increased a lot in the past 2 years, the number of cultivators who come to our Shyandon Pavilion to buy spiritual objects for foundation building has increased by several times. We don't have this kind of spiritual pills for the time being. It's not just our Shyandon Pavilion, but all the medicine shops in Yangshan Fang are the same. Taoist friends who want spiritual objects for foundation building may have to wait a little longer. I don't know how long your store will have to wait for this kind of cleansing marrow pill. Please tell me something." Seeing that the old man in green robe said that there was no auxiliary spiritual pill for foundation building, Song Qingming really couldn't figure out why he called him in, and didn't know what the old man was thinking. Was he just teasing him because he was too idle? This cleansing marrow pill really sounds good, and its effect can be compared with a Qingyu pill that Su Ziyan used to build her foundation. No matter what, he must find a way to get one before building his foundation. Seeing that Song Qingming looked a little deflated, the old man in green robe narrowed his eyes and said, "If you are in a hurry, I know a place that has this elixir, but the requirements for buying spiritual objects there are quite high. I wonder if you are interested in listening. Please enlighten me, senior." Seeing that Song Qingming was quite reasonable, the old man in green robe nodded and continued, "You may not know that although our Shyandon Pavilion is a well-known shop in Yangshan Square, it is not the property of Xiaoao sect, but belongs to an organization composed of many elite cultivators, Shyandon League. Not only in Uyghur, but in fact, dozens of countries near the floating cloud mountains have shops started by our Shyandon League, but we are relatively low-key and mainly focus on alchemy and business, which is why we are not known to everyone. The Shyandon League not only has ordinary shops like ours in public, but also organizes some auctions and exchanges in secret every once in a while. If you want the marrow cleansing pill, as long as you go there, I dare to guarantee you that you will definitely find the spiritual objects you need for foundation building. Even if it is the foundation building pill you want, as long as you can show us spiritual objects that impress us, these are not a problem." Quotation mark. Chapter 133 Auction. Hearing the old man in green robe say that he could exchange for foundation building pills at the Shyandon League auction, Song Qingming was really shocked. He didn't expect that a seemingly ordinary shop in Yangshan Fang had such a powerful force behind it. As if he could see the doubts in Song Qingming's heart, the old man in green robe put down the spiritual tea in his hand and said, "Please rest assured, my friend, our Shyandon League is just an alchemy organization and does not participate in the competition between the major sects. The reason why we dare to hold this auction in Uyghur is that our leader has some friendship with Xiaoao sect. However, in order to give Xiaoao sect some face, this matter cannot be publicized everywhere. Every auction is also held in secret. If you don't want to participate, Please don't publicize it when you leave, otherwise it may cause a lot of trouble for you. I wonder what the specific requirements are for participating in this auction. After thinking for a while, Song Qingming asked again. To participate in the auction, our Shandong League has always adopted the invitation method. You need to get my approval first. As long as you can take out 500 spirit stones or spiritual objects of equivalent value, you are eligible to buy an invitation from me. With the invitation, you are eligible to participate in our Shandong League auction. When the auction is held, we will notify all those who hold the invitation in advance. I said this, fellow Taoist finally understands. After saying this, the green-robed old man raised his hand and took out a green jade card from his sleeve and placed it in front of Song Qingming. The material of the jade card looks ordinary. Except for a big ant engraved on it, there is nothing special. It looks like an ordinary first-level spiritual object. Senior, is this jade card the invitation you mentioned? How many spirit stones does it cost for one? Song Qingming asked curiously after picking up the jade card and looking at it. After hearing this, the green-robed old man extended a finger to Song Qingming with a kind face. 100 spirit stones for one map. More than half a month later, a few hundred miles west of Yangshanfang, on an inconspicuous hill, Song Qingming walked to flat ground halfway up the hill, stopped, and took out a sheepskin map from his body to look at it. Just as he was about to move forward, a man walked towards him from not far ahead. Song Qingming looked up and saw that the man was wearing a Taoist robe and a black bronze mask on his face. There was a bull's head painted on the mask, which looked a little weird. The bull-headed masked man approached Song Qingming and said lightly, "Do you have an invitation?" After hearing this, Song Qingming quickly took out an ordinary green jade card from his storage bag and handed it to the person in front of him. "Put on the mask and follow me." After verifying that it was correct, the bull-headed masked man threw the jade token back to Song Qingming, and then took out a similar mask from his body and handed it to Song Qingming. It looked similar to the bull-headed mask he was wearing, but the pattern painted on it was different. It was a dog head that looked a bit strange. "My fellow Taoist, can you change the mask?" Hearing this, the bull-headed masked man looked back at Song Qingming, who was still without a mask, turned around and rummaged through his body. Took out a pig-headed mask and threw it in front of Song Qingming. "It's almost the same, just make do with it. Anyway, it won't last long. It will be returned to us after the auction is over, then this one will do." Song Qingming took the pig-headed mask and put it on his face, and followed him. As soon as he put on the mask, Song Qingming suddenly found that his spiritual consciousness seemed to be blocked by the mask and could not penetrate the mask. Could it be that the mask also had the effect of blocking spiritual consciousness? He used his spiritual sense to check the bull-headed masked man in front of him and found that it was true. Even though they were very close, his spiritual sense could not penetrate the mask on his head. No wonder he did not see his cultivation level when they first met. It turned out that it was covered by this thing. It seems that this mask is really a good thing. After wearing it, it can not only hide his cultivation level, but also make it estimated that even the foundation building cultivators will not be able to detect his appearance. After walking a few miles forward with a bull-headed masked man, the two came to a mountain wall. After the bull-headed masked man cast a set of spells on the mountain wall, the scene in front of them was distorted, revealing a cave with a radius of 10 feet. The bull-headed man took Song Qingming directly into the cave. There was a bright lamp hanging on both sides of the cave every few steps, illuminating the dark cave very brightly. Seeing that the surrounding mountain walls were very neat and tidy, Song Qingming felt that this place should have been dug out directly by cultivators above the foundation building stage using magic tools. After walking about half a mile in the cave, they came to a slightly larger cave. At this time, there were already many monks sitting around. Like Song Qingming, they all wore this kind of bronze mask on their faces. After seeing Song Qingming and the others, these people just looked up and glanced, and soon lowered their heads and began to meditate, as if waiting for something. After the bull-headed masked man brought Song Qingming here, he said something to a horse-headed masked man standing in the middle, and soon turned around and left. Song Qingming looked around and found a place where no one was and sat down. After learning about the auction in Shandong Pavilion, although he felt that the invitation was a bit outrageous, Song Qingming finally bought an invitation from the old man in green robe and came here. The reason why he spent 100 spirit stones to attend the auction was not because he was anxious to buy the marrow cleansing pill, but mainly because he was moved by the foundation building pill mentioned by the green-robed old man. Regardless of whether what the green-robed old man said was true or false, Song Qingming still didn't want to miss this opportunity. After all, the foundation building pill was too important to him now, and it was worth spending 100 spirit stones to take a look. After a careful look, there were already 30 or 40 cultivators in the cave. Several of them standing with the horse-headed masked man should be the same as the bull-headed man, all of whom were members of the Shyandon League and were responsible for taking them to the auction. I just don't know why they were all brought to this cave. After more than an hour, the bull-headed man returned to the cave again. And this time he brought 2 more people. They also wore masks on their faces and their faces could not be seen clearly. But from their figures, it can be seen that they are 2 young women. The 2 women looked around and didn't speak either. They just found a corner with few people and sat down. It seems that I am not too late. I didn't expect that there would be so many people coming to participate in the auction. Another 4 or 5 days passed, until there were nearly 100 people sitting in the cave. The Minotaur and the Centaur stopped going outside to pick up people, and started to inform everyone to prepare to set off to the venue of the auction. Chapter 134 Teleportation Array. After everyone stood up, they followed the Tauren and the horse-headed man out of the cave and continued to walk deeper into the cave. Not far away, they came to a stone door guarded by 2 masked men. The horse-headed man took out a round white jade the size of a palm from his body and directly stuck it on the stone door. With a creak, the stone door opened automatically without wind, revealing a cave slightly smaller than the previous one. After entering, Song Qingming discovered that there was a small circular magic array in the cave, with white light lingering and flickering. Is this a teleportation array? A cultivator who saw this kind of magic array for the first time like Song Qingming asked with some doubt. Haven't you been here before? You don't even know about the teleportation array. Hearing that someone was so surprised after seeing the teleportation array, a cultivator wearing a sheep head mask next to Song Qingming couldn't help but mutter. Seeing that some people didn't know, the horse-headed man quickly explained, as you can see, this is indeed a small teleportation array. Next, we will directly teleport you to the auction venue prepared by our Shyandon League. Please be careful when you are teleporting. No matter what happens, don't use your magic power to resist the operation of the array. Otherwise, even if you are a giant and cultivator, once you fall into the space crack, you will be shattered to pieces. Although Song Qingming has never seen a real teleportation array, he has learned some knowledge about teleportation arrays because he has practiced arrays for many years. What the horse-headed man just said is definitely not alarmist. The teleportation array is a magic array that uses the power of space to teleport thousands of miles away in a short period of time. It is generally composed of 2 identical arrays connected together. Depending on the size of the teleportation array, the distance that can be teleported is also very different. Like the small teleportation array in front of everyone, the teleportation distance is estimated to be no more than 2 or 3,000 miles, and it cannot be teleported to the border of Uyghur. For larger teleportation arrays, it is not a problem to teleport tens of thousands of miles. You can easily go to any place in a country. There is a teleportation array in Gianfang of Uyghur connected to Qingming Mountain. During the Monster Rebellion, the reason why Gianfang was as stable as Mount Tai was precisely because of the support of this teleportation array. Once a powerful magic array like the teleportation array goes wrong during the teleportation, it will not only be your own fault, but also the people who are teleported at the same time will be implicated. After the horse-headed man explained it carefully to everyone, he arranged more than 20 monks to stand on the teleportation platform, and then he took out dozens of spirit stones and put them around the magic array. After installing the spirit stones, the horse-headed man took out a circular array disc, and the magic power in his hand surged quickly. The array disc flashed with spiritual light and flew over the teleportation array, and the entire teleportation array below also lit up. As the white light in the array became brighter and brighter, those standing in the teleportation array quickly disappeared from everyone's eyes. I didn't expect that it would cost so many spirit stones to teleport once. The Shyandon League really spent a lot of money to hold an auction. The small teleportation array can teleport more than 20 people at a time. Song Qingming calculated that they would have to teleport 4 times in total. The teleportation fee alone would cost almost 200 spirit stones, and that was not counting the cost of the return. Soon, as the third group of people disappeared into the teleportation array, Song Qingming and the rest of the people walked onto the teleportation platform. This time, The horse-headed man in charge of teleportation also stood up, and the one responsible for casting the spell to teleport became another bull-headed man. As soon as the array was activated, Song Qingming felt dizzy and the scenery in the cave became blurred. With a violent flash of white light, Song Qingming and the others came to another unfamiliar cave. There was also an identical array here, as well as the waves of people that had been teleported in before. After the horse-headed man walked out of the teleportation array, several monks wearing various masks soon walked into the cave. After handing over to the horse-headed man, they led everyone away. After everyone walked out of the cave, they went directly into a tall house. As soon as they came in, Song Qingming heard a hustle and bustle that only existed in a busy city. He didn't expect that this house was so big. There were hundreds of tables and chairs in the hall alone without it looking crowded. There were already many monks sitting in it. It seemed that this was the place where the auction was held. He didn't expect that so many monks would come to this auction. The old man from Xiandan Pavilion really didn't brag to him. It seemed that his 100 spiritual stones were not wasted. The auction will be held here. There are forbidden spells to protect it. You can't use your mana at will. If you don't understand, you can directly ask the monks who are receiving you on the spot. Next, please do as you please. After entering the hall, the horse-headed man explained to everyone, and then walked to a staircase not far away. 5 or 6 monks who were teleported here also followed a horse-headed man. Song Qingming looked up and found that this hall had more than one floor. There were also compartments on the second floor that looked like private rooms in a restaurant. A large door was specially open near the front of the hall, so that the monks sitting in the private rooms on the second floor could easily see every corner of the hall below. My fellow Taoist, you only have a green invitation in your hand, so you cannot go to the second floor. Please sit in the hall on the first floor. The second floor is reserved for distinguished guests holding red invitations. A monk also wanted to follow the horse-headed man to the second floor, but he was soon stopped by the monk guarding the stairs. He could only shake his head helplessly and walk to the hall on the first floor. There were still many empty tables and chairs in the hall. Song Qingming found a corner by the window and sat down. As soon as he sat down, a maid wearing a uniform cat head mask soon brought a cup of spiritual tea over. There were dozens of such maids in the hall, all busy entertaining the monks who had just arrived. Taking this opportunity, Song Qingming also asked the maid about some of the rules of the auction. After sitting in the hall for half an hour, Song Qingming suddenly saw a monk without a mask coming into the hall. This man wore a golden jade crown on his head, and his figure was extraordinary and righteous. After entering, he walked directly to the long table at the front of the hall and shouted in a loud voice, "Welcome many fellow cultivators to our Xiandan League's trade fair. Whether you are old customers who have been here before, or new friends who are attending for the first time, don't worry. We Xiandan League will treat every Taoist friend who comes here equally. In another stick of incense, the auction will start. Please prepare quickly and don't miss the spiritual objects you need." Is this the ancient elder of the Xiandan League? I didn't expect that this auction would alarm him, the Xiandan elder who has not been around for many years. It seems that the Xiandan League really took out some extraordinary spiritual objects this time. Chapter 135, Competition for Spiritual Objects. After hearing what the 2 monks who were sitting at a table apart said, Song Qingming realized that the man on the stage, who was dressed in ordinary clothes, was actually a Xiandan monk with profound cultivation. The Xiandan League was indeed not simple, as they could invite a Xiandan monk to preside over an auction. After the elder Gu finished speaking, he quickly left the hall on the first floor and gave the seat in front of the hall to a monk wearing a tiger head mask. My fellow Daoists, I am the person in charge of hosting this auction. It's the same as the previous rules. We will set a reserve price in spirit stones for each item, and you can raise the price at will. As long as no one bids after the golden bell in my hand rings 3 times, the item will belong to the last Taoist to bid. In addition to spirit stones, other spiritual objects of equal value can also be used as collateral. However, the specific value of the spiritual object you bring out will be jointly evaluated by several fellow Daoists in our Xiandan League who are responsible for appraising treasures. In a word, at our Xiandan League auction, all items go to the highest bidder. The man with the tiger head mask did not look very old, but although his voice was loud, it was a little hoarse, which made people feel very strange, as if he had deliberately changed his original voice. I declare that this auction is officially open. The first item to be auctioned is a second-level lower-grade magic weapon Bibo shield. This shield has outstanding defensive capabilities and is very suitable for people who practice water-attributed exercises. It can be used by both Qi refining cultivators and foundation building cultivators. The reserve price is 500 spirit stones. Please bid. As a palm-sized shield appeared on the long table, the eyes of the people at the scene were attracted by the tiger-headed masked man. Unexpectedly, the first item to be auctioned was a rare second-level defensive magic weapon. I bid 550 spirit stones, 580. I bid 600 spirit stones. You want to take this magic weapon for more than 500 spirit stones? There are really many naive fellow Taoists here. After a cultivator with a somewhat arrogant face finished bidding, he also mocked the cultivators who had just bid with some disdain. However, as soon as he finished speaking, his bid was immediately drowned in the crowd. This second-level low-grade defensive magic weapon was originally a hot commodity in the market. After the eloquent tiger-headed man vividly introduced its power, it soon attracted many monks who lacked suitable magic weapons to snatch it. Even Song Qingming was almost tempted after seeing this item, but he came here not for the magic weapon, but for the marrow cleansing pill that assists in foundation building. He couldn't spend so many spirit stones on it, so he could only watch from afar. As the price quoted continued to rise, the price of this magic weapon also rose to more than 800 spirit stones, which was close to the original market price of this magic weapon. Many monks who wanted to get a bargain quickly gave up the idea of bidding again. In the end, this magic weapon was bought by a masked woman at a high price of 960 spirit stones, which was already a considerable premium. Seeing that the first item was sold at such a satisfactory price, the tiger-headed man who presided over the auction was very happy. He did not let such a hot atmosphere fade away, and immediately struck while the iron was hot and took out the second item of the auction. After a fiery red alchemy furnace appeared in the hands of the tiger-headed man, he continued, as everyone knows, our Shandong League is an alchemy organization, and naturally we have many spiritual objects related to alchemy. You guessed right, the second item to be auctioned is the alchemist's favorite, the top-grade red flame furnace. This furnace has been with a second-level alchemist in our Shandong League for many years. If he hadn't found a better alchemy furnace this time, he would definitely not be willing to bring it to this auction. The low price of 300 spirit stones is not high, right? It's actually a top-grade alchemy furnace. This thing may not be available even in a place like Yangshanfang. As long as you are a first-level alchemist, you will definitely not want to miss it. I'm afraid that this thing will cause another fight when it comes out, as expected by Song Qingming. As soon as the tiger-headed man finished speaking, several seated cultivators stood up and started bidding. Although the people who participated in the competition for this spiritual object were not as many as the ones for the Bibo shield just now, the price comparison was more intense than before. After a round of bidding, the price of this alchemy furnace was almost higher than that of the second-level magic weapon. In the end, under several fierce gazes, it was taken by a mysterious young man wearing a dragon head mask. After getting this item, the man left the auction hall directly for fear of attracting other people's attention. No one knew where he went. Song Qingming still sat quietly in the corner and did not participate in the bidding. Although he knew nothing about alchemy, he still had a rough idea of the price of this alchemy furnace. The best alchemy furnace of the Song family was in the hands of the second sister Song Qingwen. The quality was far inferior to the one on the stage just now. It cost nearly 200 spirit stones to buy this item at that time, not to mention the value of this one. This fierce bidding also stimulated many monks in the hall. The next auction items were all snapped up by many monks in the hall without exception. Even the monks in the VIP room on the second floor participated in several competitions. But more than a dozen spiritual objects have been auctioned off. Not to mention the marrow cleansing pill. Song Qingming didn't even see the tiger-headed man take out any other elixir, which made him a little impatient. Could it be that I was really fooled by that old man? The Shandong League auction may not necessarily have elixirs for auction. Song Qingming was thinking about it, and the tiger-headed man's words quickly pulled him back to the auction booth. There are a total of 10 marrow cleansing pills, which have the effect of assisting in foundation building. They are rare spiritual objects for foundation building. Daoists who want to build a foundation immediately, please don't miss this opportunity. The reserve price for each one is only 100 spirit stones, and please feel free to bid. Damn. The marrow cleansing pill is finally out. Not only Song Qingming, but many cultivators in the hall also stared at a small medicine bottle in the tiger-headed man's hand. 150 spirit stones, 180 spirit stones. The noise of competition gradually died down until the price was almost 300 spirit stones. In the end, the first pill was auctioned for 340 spirit stones, which was about 10% higher than the price in the market. Because there was more than one marrow cleansing pill, Song Qingming was not too anxious. He first observed the final prices of the first two pills, and only started to bid for the third pill. In the end, he successfully won one at the price of 320 spirit stones. Although it was a little more expensive than in the market, it was not in vain. Since there were many pills, the monks competing for the marrow cleansing pill were not as crowded as when the magic tools were auctioned. The next few pills were sold between 290 and 300 spirit stones. Only the last one was auctioned at the highest price of 350 spirit stones. I will write another chapter later, and you can read it tomorrow morning. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136 Achievement of Wishes. After Song Qingming bought the marrow cleansing pill, a cat-faced maid soon invited him directly to a secret room beside the hall. A woman wearing a cat-faced mask confirmed his identity again, put a marrow cleansing pill in Song Qingming's hand, and then collected 320 spirit stones from him. The whole transaction process was very fast. After Song Qingming confirmed the pill he got, he returned to the auction hall again. The next spiritual object was still being compared, so he did not miss other spiritual objects being auctioned. However, his purpose of coming this time has been achieved. The next auction item has nothing to do with him, and you can only be a spectator to learn more. This auction is worthy of being held by the Shandong League. Song Qingming did not expect that the next dozen items to be auctioned were all kinds of first and second level pills. Although many of the cultivators who came here did come for the elixirs they needed, just like Song Qingming, the uses of elixirs are very different. Unlike magic tools, which are needed by everyone, the competition is naturally not as fierce as before. The atmosphere in the auction hall gradually quieted down, and there was even an embarrassing scene where no one bid for 2 elixirs. As the bells for the auction items continued to ring, the auction that lasted for several hours finally came to an end. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. The next one to go on stage is the final spiritual object of this auction, the Foundation Establishment Pill. I am really lucky today. This alliance has not taken out spiritual objects of this level for a long time. The tiger-headed man carefully took out 2 white jade boxes and shouted loudly to the people below with a smile. As the tiger-headed man finished speaking, there was a bang. The cultivators in the auction hall instantly became agitated. What? Did I hear correctly? There really is a Foundation Establishment Pill. I was wondering why the Shandong League sent a giant and senior to come here to support the auction. It turns out there is a Foundation Establishment Pill auction. Dear Daoists, the rules for this auction of Foundation Establishment Pills are the same as before. Our league does not accept spiritual stones. If you want, please write the spiritual objects you can exchange directly on your invitation card, and then put the invitation card on the table. After the elders of our league select the spiritual objects to exchange, someone will take you to complete the transaction. Hearing the discussions of the crowd, Song Qingming also changed his calm expression at this time, and one hand could not help but put on his storage bag. Before the auction was held, the Shandong League had released some news about the Foundation Establishment Pill. Some of the cultivators who came here did make preparations in advance. Soon, people in the hall began to put their jade cards on the table, and many people in the VIP room on the second floor also took out their jade cards. Half an hour later, the Shandong League sent dozens of cat-faced maids to collect the jade cards that everyone had placed on the table. There were as many as 40 or 50 of them, and then took all of them to a secret room on the side of the hall. After a while, a cultivator whose jade card was collected was suddenly invited into the secret room. No one knew what happened inside. The cultivator, who was very excited before entering, soon came out calmly. Because he was wearing a mask, everyone couldn't see his expression. No one knew whether this person was selected or not. Then another cultivator was called in, and after a while, this person also came out. Everyone in the hall looked at the cultivators coming in and out, and didn't know whose spiritual objects were selected. The Shandong League auctioned the foundation building pill in this way, which was really confusing. In a secret room behind the auction hall, the tiger-headed man who had just hosted the auction flipped through the jade cards collected from outside one by one. After taking a look at most of the jade cards, he quickly threw them aside. The rules have been explained so clearly. Why are there still so many people writing things like top-grade spirit stones, and some writing installment payments? What do you think of our Shyandon League auction? We will disqualify these monks who sent jade cards from entering the auction next time. The two cat-faced maids who were waiting beside him quickly picked up the jade cards he had thrown aside, nodded and took them out. After selecting, the tiger-headed man finally selected 3 from the 40 or 50 jade cards, got up and walked to another secret room next to him. Sitting in the secret room was a middle-aged monk who was meditating. He was the ancient elder who had appeared in the auction hall. Master, among the spiritual objects sent this time, there are 3 things that are more useful to you: a top-grade spirit stone, a giant period practice method, and a water spirit fruit. I wonder which 2 you will choose. After saying that, the tiger-headed man handed over the 3 selected jade cards respectfully. Elder Gu opened his eyes, looked at the 3 jade cards, and said, "The giant period cultivation method is somewhat useful for my cultivation method. The value of this item is not less than a foundation building pill, so it can be exchanged. Needless to say, the water spirit fruit is also worth it. There is no reason for us in the Shyandon League to refuse such a spiritual object. As for the high-grade spiritual stone, although it is useful, I don't need it for the time being, so forget it this time. Zuanzin, you go and arrange it. After the exchange is completed, send it directly to me." "Yes. Disciple will do it right away." Song Qingming didn't know how many people he was called into the secret room. So many people gave him jade cards, and he lost some confidence in what he had just written. He didn't expect that the cultivators who came to participate in the auction were also wealthy, that they could easily exchange spiritual objects for foundation building pills. After entering the secret room, Song Qingming had just sat down when the auction host wearing a tiger mask pushed the door and walked in. "The elder has already selected the water spirit fruit in your hand, but before that, please take it out for us to check the quality of the fruit, so that we can decide whether you can exchange it for the foundation building pill. Do you have any objection to this?" Without much nonsense, the bull-headed man came in and stated his purpose straight to the point. "What I have in my hand is indeed a ripe water spirit fruit. Please check it." After saying that, Song Qingming took out the jade box containing the water spirit fruit from the storage bag. After the tiger-headed man opened the jade box and checked it, he handed a white jade box that he had just taken out at the auction to Song Qingming. "For your safety, please do not mention this to others after you leave. We in the Shyandon League will protect you. However, there are many cultivators here who are building foundations, so you'd better not leak the news of the foundation building pills, so as not to bring yourself unnecessary trouble." After the deal was concluded, the tiger-headed man did not forget to remind Song Qingming, and then asked the cat-faced maid outside the door to invite Song Qingming out like the other cultivators who came in. Updated. Chapter 137, Mantis catches cicada. Just like the marrow cleansing pill he had obtained before, the entire transaction process for the foundation building pill was also very fast. Even the cat-faced maid who led Song Qingming out did not realize that Song Qingming was the one who was chosen to exchange for the foundation building pill. Including Song Qingming, a total of 40 to 50 cultivators came in and out. They were all wearing masks and their expressions could not be seen. Song Qingming did not know which cultivator would be the other one who was chosen to exchange for the foundation building pill. The Shyandon League's move really protected the privacy of every guest who came to the auction. For example, the process of Song Qingming exchanging for the foundation building pill, except for a few core high-level people in the auction, no one here would know which 2 people took the foundation building pill in the end. Until he had returned to his original seat in the hall, Song Qingming's heart was still churning. He really couldn't believe that his exchange for the foundation building pill was so smooth this time. The other party didn't even ask about the origin of the spiritual object in his hand, and handed the foundation building pill to him. Song Qingming had thought about it for a long time before preparing a speech, but it turned out to be completely useless. Seeing that the jade box contained the foundation building pill he had always dreamed of, Song Qingming's hands holding the box could not help but tremble. Fortunately, the tiger-headed masked man who gave him the foundation building pill reminded him in time in the secret room, so that Song Qingming did not show any abnormality after coming out. However, even so, when he came out of the secret room, Song Qingming suddenly felt several sharp eyes looking at him. Although the mask on his head can block the detection of the cultivator's spiritual sense, his figure and clothes can still be remembered by those who are interested. How to leave this place safely next has become a problem that Song Qingming urgently needs to think about. As the last cultivator walked out of the secret room, the tiger-headed man who presided over the auction also reappeared in front of the auction hall. This auction has ended successfully. Thank you very much to all the fellow Daoists for coming to support us. The return teleportation array has been prepared for everyone, and you can leave here at any time. In the next 3 days, our alliance will also have some low-level elixirs for sale in the hall. Fellow Daoists who still need elixirs can also stay and have a look for a while. As the auction officially ended, most of the people in the hall stood up and left their seats, walking towards the teleportation array in the cave behind the auction hall. Only a small number of dozens of people did not leave in a hurry, wanting to see if they could still buy the elixirs they needed. Why has no one come after waiting for so long? Is the teleportation array broken? Why haven't we been arranged to teleport away yet? I don't know. Maybe there are too many people who want to be teleported. Anyway, just wait. When the time comes, the Shyandon League will naturally arrange for us to leave. The cave waiting to be teleported back was soon crowded with people. Among them was a short man wearing the same pig head mask as Song Qingming. He secretly transmitted his voice to a sheep-head masked monk next to him. Fellow Taoist Wu. Do you think the person who just got the Foundation Establishment pill is among us, Brother Lu? What do you mean by this? Do you dare to covet the Foundation Establishment pill? The sheep-head masked man turned his head immediately after hearing this, looked around cautiously, and replied. HMPH. In the world of immortal cultivation, strength is always respected. Naturally, spiritual objects like the Foundation Establishment pill should be possessed by those who are capable. I have just noted down most of the people who have entered the secret room of the Shyandon League. Once we are teleported there, if the two of us Foundation Establishment cultivators can join forces and give it a try, we might be able to find an opportunity. I wonder if Brother Wu has this idea. There was a hint of ruthlessness in the words of the pig-headed masked man. After listening to him, the sheep-headed masked man did not immediately nod and agree with him, but spoke in a calm tone and said, there are at least 40 or 50 people who just went in. Apart from the people from the Shyandon League, no one knows who got the Foundation Establishment pill in the end. So many people teleported away in different directions. It is almost impossible for you and me to find the Foundation Establishment pill. Besides, 80% of those who are able to exchange for the Foundation Establishment pill are successful Foundation Establishment cultivators. With a cultivation level of you and me in the early stages of Foundation Establishment, we might hide a wall. If you want to pay attention to the Foundation Establishment pill, I will not accompany you, Alice. Brother Wu is right. It was Lu who was rude. Seeing that the sheep-headed masked man had no such idea, the pig-headed masked man could only sigh helplessly. He didn't have much confidence in facing a Foundation Establishment cultivator without anyone to help. Brother Lu, if you want to get the foundation building pill, you might as well consider other people. A lot of good things came out of this auction. I remember that the man next to him seemed to have obtained a set of second-level magic tools that can be used in combination. This thing is worth thousands of spirit stones. The boy looks quite young. He should be either a 9th-level cultivator of Qi Refining or a person who has just built his foundation. If the two of us join forces to take him down, it shouldn't be a big problem. We can also share 1,800 spirit stones, which will be worth our trip here. The pig-headed masked man here just gave up his thoughts and didn't want to look up. The sheep-headed masked man had already insidiously stared at a young man sitting on the other side of them. The young man looked very ordinary, but he not only had a mask on his face, but also a black hat covering half of his head. He looked very cautious. At this time, the news finally came that the teleportation array in the cave next door was ready. Seeing this, the young man hurriedly followed a Shyandon League monk who led him to the teleportation place. The sheep-head masked man and the pig-head masked man looked at each other and nodded tacitly, and followed the young man into the teleportation array. As the teleportation array flashed, more than a dozen people who were teleported together appeared in another cave, and there were 2 monks wearing cowhead and horsehead masks standing beside them. Everyone, after returning the masks you were wearing to us, you can leave directly from here. The horsehead masked man pointed to the mask on his face and said calmly to the people who had just teleported and were still a little unstable. Before the horsehead masked man finished speaking, An old man with a somewhat anxious temper had taken off the rat head mask he was wearing and handed it to him, and then left here in a hurry without looking back. As someone took the lead to leave, the people who were teleported by others also took the time to hand in their masks and left here on their own initiative. Soon, only the cow-headed man and the horse-headed man were left in the cave. After the young man in the bamboo hat walked out of the cave, he chose a direction and went down the mountain alone. However, he didn't seem to notice that two figures were following him closely not far behind him. The young man in the bamboo hat suddenly stopped in a large forest several dozen miles away from where he had just been teleported. He turned around and said loudly to the empty space behind him, "My two Taoist friends have been following me all the way. If you have anything to ask me, please come out and talk. Good boy, you are quite smart. Since you have chosen such a good place for yourself, we will send you off here." As a fierce word floated out, two people, one tall and one short, walked out quickly from one side of the forest. They were the sheep-headed man and the pig-headed man who had been eyeing him at the auction. Chapter 138 Safe Return. After several waves of people teleported from the cave left, the bull-headed man and the horse-headed man also took off the bronze masks they had been wearing and put them together in the pile of bronze masks that had just been collected. Just now, Wu Laogianlu the dwarf from Pengdang Mountain seemed to have set their sights on the young man wearing a bamboo hat. The bull-headed man, who was sorting out the pile of masks, suddenly said to the horse-headed man beside him. The horse-headed man nodded and said, "Since they have left the mountain, what happens outside is none of our business. We have to be busy for half a month to organize an auction. This time we can finally go back to practice for a while." Dao is right. I am really tired of staying in this ghost place with insufficient spiritual energy. By the way, what was the name of the young man you just mentioned? Do you remember? The horse-headed man seemed to have thought of something again, and raised his head to ask the bull-headed man again. I really forgot about this. I have never seen this person before. It seems that this is his first time to attend the auction. I only remember that the name written on the identity invitation card he took out at that time seemed to be Li. Yes, it was Li. This surname is a bit rare. I remember it very clearly. The bull-headed man thought for a while and answered seriously. The horse-headed man nodded again and said, "Let's register this matter in the alliance later." That young man has already established his foundation at a young age. It is possible that he is not an ordinary casual cultivator. If the victim comes to us in the future, we can at least give an explanation. Yes, fellow Taoist is thoughtful. After the two of them sorted out all the bronze masks, they quickly disappeared in the teleportation array. One day later, on a road dozens of miles away from Yangshanfang, a mortal caravan with more than a dozen carriages, loaded with a lot of goods, was heading towards Yangshanfang. There were more than a dozen guards on horseback around the caravan, all of whom were acquired mortal martial artists. There are basically no monsters near Yangshanfang, but such caravans may still encounter robbers who are also acquired warriors. Therefore, merchants in this area will hire some martial arts guards to escort the goods. If they encounter valuables, they will even pay a large price to hire some Qi Refining monks to escort them. In a carriage at the end of the caravan, Song Qingming, with a calm face, was sitting and talking with a white-robed monk who was also in the Qi Refining stage. There were two steaming teacups on the small table between the two. "Fellow Taoist Song, your spiritual tea tastes really top-notch. I am a little embarrassed to say it. I have been out for decades, and this is the first time I have tasted spiritual tea of this quality. I didn't expect that fellow Taoist Song would be so generous to me." The white-robed monk who spoke looked about the same age as Song Qingming, but his cultivation level was a little behind him. He had not yet broken through to the late stage of Qi Refining. If Song Qingming had not received the help of the incomplete map, his cultivation level would probably be about the same as his now. After hearing the praise from the monk in white, Song Qingming smiled slightly, filled another cup for the monk in white, and then said, "I also hit it off with fellow Taoist Fang at first sight, so I took out the spiritual tea that I have treasured for many years. It's a pity that I only have so much on me. When I have good tea next time, I will definitely bring it to Yulao Pavilion for fellow Taoists to taste together." Fellow Taoist Song is thoughtful, then Fang is very grateful. A day ago, before the Xiandan League auction ended, Song Qingming, who was in the hall, took the initiative to ask the auctioneer to use the teleportation array alone immediately through the cat-faced maid serving beside him. Although some people had obtained the spiritual objects they needed and left the hall in advance, these people did not leave immediately and stayed in the lounge prepared by the Shyanden League. This is also because whether they come or leave, the spiritual stones required to take the teleportation array are all provided by the Shyanden League. There must be enough people to transfer and leave together, otherwise if everyone uses the teleportation array once, the Shyanden League will probably lose money after holding this auction. He was just trying it out, but he didn't expect that the Shyanden League didn't reject him this time, but only asked him to bear the 30 spiritual stones needed for this single transmission. Therefore, Song Qingming had actually left the auction hall half an hour before the end of the auction. There were more than 300 people in the hall, and the lack of a cultivator in the corner did not attract too many cultivators' attention. They thought that Song Qingming had left the hall early like the previous cultivators and went to the lounge to wait for the auction to end. After returning the masks to the Shyanden League cultivator at the other end of the transmission array, Song Qingming immediately left the cave and ran hundreds of miles towards Yangshanfang. Finally, he met this caravan heading to Yangshanfang more than 100 miles away from Qi Mountain. When Song Qingming saw the name of Yu Laoj written on the caravan, he realized that it was a shop he had dealt with in Yangshanfang in the past year. After thinking about it, he decisively chose to directly mix into the caravan. Many of the participants in the auction were foundation-building cultivators who could fly with swords. It was impossible for him to return to Yangshanfang before them if he was faster than them. It would be dangerous if he ran alone and hurriedly attracted the attention of other cultivators. In contrast, it would be safer for Song Qingming, who did not want to attract attention, to blend in with the Immortal caravan and slowly go to Yangshanfang. The cultivator in charge of the caravan, named Fang Yan, heard that Song Qingming wanted to take a ride with him to Yangshanfang. After hesitating for a while, he still did not dare to refuse him. He took the initiative to respectfully invite him into his car. After all, he was a cultivator at the 9th level of Qi Refining. If he did not agree and angered Song Qingming, it would not be a wise choice. Fortunately, Song Qingming was a very easygoing person, and he had a relationship with his employer, Yu Laoj. After getting in the car, he not only did not embarrass him, but also generously took out some of his treasured spiritual objects to share with him. In less than half a day, Fang Yan became familiar with Song Qingming, who got on the car halfway. In this way, Song Qingming and Fang Yan hid in the car all the way. 2 days later, they returned to Yangshanfang safely. It was not until he stepped into the gate of the market that he breathed a sigh of relief and let go of the tense consciousness of the past few days. After saying goodbye to the fellow Taoist Fang who sent him back to Yangshanfang, Song Qingming immediately returned to the cave he rented. Although he spent a lot of spiritual stones this time, he finally got all the spiritual objects he urgently needed for foundation building. A marrow cleansing pill and a foundation building pill were both ready. Looking at the 2 spiritual pills that he had obtained with great difficulty, Song Qingming's eyes were full of excitement. He almost shouted out loud into his cave. All the spiritual objects needed for foundation building were now complete. Next, he would devote all his energy to preparing for foundation building. Chapter 139 Return to Xiaoyao Sect. Half a year later, in Su Ziyan's cave in Qi Mountain, Song Qingming held a jade box in his hands. In the box was a purple spiritual medicine emitting a brilliant spiritual light. It was the spiritual object he wanted to offer to Su Ziyan. Last time, he rashly offered a Huayan pill, which did not impress Su Ziyan. Before he came to see her this time, Song Qingming made some preparations in this regard and carefully selected a 2nd-level spiritual medicine that was quite attractive to foundation-building cultivators in the Jade Tower. After all, friendship is friendship. He felt that it was not safe to go to a successful foundation-building cultivator again and again without bringing some gifts to thank him. Most of the high-level cultivators in the world of immortal cultivation put interests first. I'm here to disturb Captain Su's meditation again. I'm really wrong. Please forgive me. I accidentally found a 2nd-level spiritual medicine in Yangshanfang some time ago. I came here today to offer it to thank you for your help last time. Su Ziyan nodded and said with a smile, this pearl spiritual medicine looks like it should be 300 or 400 years old. It really cost Brother Song a lot of money. It's not a waste of money. This spiritual medicine alone cost him 200 spirit stones. It's because Yulao Pavilion has some friendship with him that he didn't make too much money. Although Song Qingming felt a little painful when he gave away the pearl spiritual medicine, he pretended not to care much on the surface. Seeing that Song Qingming was humble and polite every time he saw her, Su Ziyan felt that the distance between them was much greater than when they were in Yianfang. I've calculated that the date you agreed with Uncle Li is coming soon. If Brother Song doesn't come to find me, I may have to send someone down the mountain to look for you in a few days. After putting away the elixir, Su Ziyan looked up at Song Qingming and slowly reminded him. Half a year ago, after Song Qingming got a foundation building pill from the Shandong League, he thought about it and finally did not choose to retreat to build the foundation immediately. There is no requirement for the level of mana for a cultivator at the 9th level of Qi Refining to reach the stage of building the foundation. Although Song Qingming's mana is not as strong as that of his third brother Song Qing's, he can also build the foundation at any time. However, cultivators who have cultivated to the peak of the 9th level of Qi Refining and have very strong mana will have more mana in their bodies, and will have a slight advantage in mana allocation when they break through the bottleneck of building the foundation. In Song Qingming's original plan, he would have to wait at least another year to exchange for the foundation building pill from Xiaoyao sect before he would have the opportunity to build his foundation. At that time, he estimated that he would not be too far from the peak of the 9th level of Qi Refining. Now that he had obtained a foundation building pill in advance, he was embarrassed again. He didn't care too much about the influence of the mana in his body. The main reason was that the time of retreat for the foundation building of cultivators was not very fixed. Except for a very small number of people with outstanding cultivation talents, most people build their foundations in about half a year, but some people need a longer time. And some can only successfully come out of retreat in 1 or 2 years. Song Qingming knew that his spiritual root qualifications were very poor, and it was estimated that it would be a bit difficult for him to come out of retreat in half a year. There was less than a year left before he went to Xiaoyao sect to exchange for the foundation building pill. If he chose to retreat now, if he missed this time and failed to successfully break through the foundation building, it would be a bit of a loss for him. After thinking about it, Song Qingming decided not to retreat to build his foundation for the time being for the sake of safety, and to retreat after successfully exchanging for the second foundation building pill. After spending hundreds of spirit stones at the Shandong League auction, Song Qingming was running out of spirit stones that he had originally used to exchange for foundation building pills. He had no extra spirit stones to buy other pills needed for cultivation. He could use this period of time to earn the spirit stones he needed. After all, he had to go to Xiaoyao sect again, and he might have other needs. It was always safer to have more spirit stones on him. In this way, it took more than half a year for Song Qingming to not only successfully increase his mana to the peak of the 9th level of Qi Refining, but also save hundreds of spirit stones. He then came to find Su Ziyan with a generous gift. Thank you, Captain Su, for your concern. I have been running around in the market for this period of time, and I only prepared the spirit stones a few days ago. I was worried that you couldn't raise so many spirit stones. I didn't expect that Brother Song was so rich. I really made a mistake this time. Hearing Song Qingming say that he had collected 8,000 spirit stones to exchange for foundation building pills, Su Ziyan's eyes also flashed a hint of surprise. Song Qingming waved his hand and said, Captain Su, you're joking. When I got the opportunity to exchange for the foundation establishment pill from Ancestor Li, I did not have enough spirit stones on me, and I did not have much hope for this matter at the beginning. Later, the reason why I was able to successfully raise the spirit stones to exchange for the foundation establishment pill was because the elders in my family fully funded a sum of spirit stones after knowing about this. This solved my urgent problem. It was indeed not my intention to deceive Captain Su. Look at me, I almost forgot that fellow Taoist Song is a family cultivator. When you were building your foundation, you still had your family to help you. You really had a much better life than us. The same was true when senior sister Gao built her foundation a few years ago. Unlike when I was building my foundation, only the master could help and talk, but she has many disciples, and she can't give all the resources to me alone. In the end, I could only risk my life to break through the barrier to achieve enlightenment. Su Ziyan sighed after she finished speaking, and there was a hint of envy in her tone for Gao Yuiao and Song Qingming, who had their families help during their cultivation. But she didn't know that the spiritual stones that Song Qingming could collect to exchange for the foundation building pills were not related to the Song family. If it were another cultivator from a similar Qi Refining family, even if he got the opportunity to exchange for the foundation building pills, he would probably sell himself, and it would be impossible to collect 8,000 spiritual stones in a short time. After the two chatted in the cave for a while, Su Ziyan used her flying sword to take Song Qingming to the law enforcement hall of Xiaoyao sect for half an hour. This is Song Qingming, a cultivator from Qing County, who came to the law enforcement hall to receive the sect's reward. Go in and report it, and then help me see if Uncle Li is here, okay? Uncle Su, please wait for a moment. The gatekeepers were still several Qi Refining disciples. After hearing Su Ziyan's purpose, they stepped forward and saluted her, and then quickly walked into the law enforcement hall. Don't worry, Uncle Li has always been fair in the sect. If he promises you something, no one will dare to make things difficult for you. After reporting to the guard monk at the door, Su Ziyan turned around and saw that Song Qingming was still a little nervous when he arrived here, so she quickly spoke to comfort him. Song Qingming nodded and quickly calmed his mind. The reason why he was a little scared was not because he was afraid of other Xiaoyao sect monks, but when he thought about facing a Jinden-level old monster again, he was really a little nervous. Jinden monks are basically old foxes who have practiced for hundreds of years. In front of these people, even if Song Qingming tried his best to stay calm, it was a very difficult thing. He always felt that these high-level monks seemed to be able to see his heart with just a glance. Chapter 140, Foundation Building. The two waited outside the law enforcement hall for less than a cup of tea, and the Qi Refining disciple who had just entered returned. Uncle Su, Grandmaster Li is still in retreat and not on the hall, but Grandmaster and several uncles on duty have explained the matter of this Taoist song, so he can go in directly with us. After Su Ziyan nodded, the two followed the disciple into the law enforcement hall. Song Qingming gradually relaxed when he heard that the Jinden Patriarch didn't seem to be here. After entering the law enforcement hall, Song Qingming didn't see the old man surnamed Zhou who had dealt with him several times last time. They were greeted by two younger foundation-building cultivators. After confirming Song Qingming's identity, the two did not embarrass him. They just looked at him curiously, counted the 8,000 spirit stones that Song Qingming took out, and one of them handed him a foundation-building pill that had been prepared long ago. Junior Sister Su, the foundation establishment pill has been given to this young brother. Please take care of him when we leave and send him directly away from Qingming Mountain. Not long ago, a disciple who exchanged for a foundation establishment pill in the Good Deeds Pavilion did not take it immediately. As a result, not long after, both he and the foundation establishment pill disappeared. The sect is still investigating the matter. I think you should be careful, lest your friend be targeted by someone as soon as he leaves here. When the two of them left, one of them who seemed to have a closer relationship with Su Ziyan came forward and gave them some advice. After leaving the law enforcement hall, Su Ziyan asked directly, I wonder if fellow Taoist Song has planned where to go for retreat and foundation building. Song Qingming sighed and replied, it's so dangerous outside, where else can I go? I can only go back to the cave I rented in Yangshanfang to build my foundation. The spiritual energy of the ordinary caves in Yangshanfang is not as good as my Lingshan. Fellow Taoist Song, why don't you go back to my place and find an empty cave for retreat? I also need to retreat for a while, so I can just take care of you. After thinking for a while, Su Ziyan made a suggestion that surprised Song Qingming. That's great, but I have to bother Captain Su again. After the Xiaoyao sect's Qi Refining disciples enter the sect, they all practice in the transmission hall and are not qualified to open a cave on their own. Only the cultivators who have successfully built their foundation can apply for an unmanned Lingshan in the sect's general affairs hall to practice alone. In addition to being able to occupy a Lingshan alone, foundation building cultivators can also go to the transmission hall to select Qi Refining disciples to help take care of their Lingshan caves. Because after the disciples of the Qi Refining period become disciples, they can follow their master to practice on his Lingyuan mountain. Not only is the spiritual energy for practice more abundant here, but there is also a foundation building master to rely on. The conditions for practice are much better than in the transmission hall. This is also a good thing that many monks who worship Xiaoyao sect dream of. Before Su Ziyan built her foundation, she also practiced on her master's Lingyuan mountain. After building her foundation, she moved to this Lingyuan mountain. Because she had not been building her foundation for a long time, she accepted 3 disciples and did not develop this Lingyuan mountain much. There are still many caves and spiritual medicine gardens left by the previous foundation building monks on the mountain. After Song Qingming looked around on Su Ziyan's Lingyuan mountain, He saw a cave with sufficient spiritual energy that had been abandoned for many years and decided to retreat here to build his foundation. Before he retreated, Su Ziyan also specially passed on to him some of his experience in building his foundation in the past, as well as some matters that he should pay special attention to. After Song Qingming learned about it, he also benefited a lot, and his gratitude to Su Ziyan increased a lot. In the past 200 years, the entire Song family, except for the ancestor who had already passed away, has not produced a foundation-building cultivator. In this regard, there is indeed not much experience left for future generations. Song Qingming's knowledge of foundation building basically comes from some classics he read in Yianfang. When Su Ziyan built her foundation, she did not use the foundation building pill, but she was a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots, and her talent was much better than Song Qingming. Without the foundation building pill, relying only on a few ordinary foundation building spiritual objects, Su Ziyan still fought hard to get through the foundation building stage. Song Qingming has always admired her courage to pursue the great way of cultivation. There are not many experiences of building a foundation without using the foundation building pill. Even in Ziyao sect, if ordinary disciples want to look through such relevant records in classics, they have to go to Ziyao sect's good merit pavilion to exchange for good merits. Song Qingming did not expect Su Ziyan to pass on this precious foundation building experience to him. Song Qingming spent more than 10 days to thoroughly comprehend all the foundation building experience that Su Ziyan had passed on to him, and then he activated the restrictions outside his cave, preparing to retreat to the foundation building realm. 1 year later, Su Ziyan, who was practicing in her own cave, suddenly felt a trace of spiritual fluctuations outside, which made her open her closed eyes immediately. After quickly finishing her practice, Su Ziyan walked out of the cave and unexpectedly found that the person standing at the door of the cave was Song Qingming, who had been in retreat for almost a year. Fellow Taoist Song, you have successfully built your foundation. When did you come out of retreat? Su Ziyan was slightly stunned when she saw Song Qingming, and then she came back to her senses and asked with some surprise. Song Qingming smiled and replied, I just succeeded in building my foundation 3 months ago. I spent some time in the cave to stabilize my cultivation. I just came out of retreat and came to see Captain Su right away. Congratulations to Brother Song for building his foundation and becoming one of our generation. From now on, we are all foundation building cultivators. Let's call each other Brother Dao. Then Song congratulates Brother Su on his improvement in cultivation. When he saw Su Ziyan, Song Qingming had already discovered that during his year of retreat, Su Ziyan's cultivation had also broken through a level and reached the 3rd level of foundation building. Su Ziyan smiled and said, this is also thanks to you. The pearl spirit medicine that Brother Dao gave me last time happened to be used by a senior brother in the sect to make pills. I exchanged it with him for a 2nd level spirit pill, which enabled me to break through my cultivation and advance. I don't deserve this. My success in building my foundation this time is also the result of Brother Su's unremitting help. Brother Dao has been very kind to me, which is not comparable to 2nd level spirit medicine. Song Qingming thanked him humbly. After listening to this, Su Ziyan shook her head and said, fellow Taoist Song is wrong. Ziyan only helped you with things within her ability because of our past friendship. How could she claim to be grateful to the great Dao? Fellow Taoist Song, please don't be too reserved. For cultivators like me with average spiritual roots, it is not possible to succeed with the help of just anyone. Although fellow Taoist has a foundation building pill to help you, anyone who can successfully build a foundation in one go, regardless of whether he has one, must be a person with a firm heart in the Dao. Even without my help, it is only a matter of time before fellow Taoist becomes one of us. Fellow Taoist Su is indeed right. Qingming is grateful for your advice. What Su Ziyan said was indeed not alarmist. Even with a foundation building pill, it is not an easy thing to build a foundation. It was only after Song Qingming had experienced the process of building a foundation that he deeply understood what she had just said. Chapter 141, Passing 3 Levels. When Song Qingming was building his foundation that day, he also experienced many dangers. At the beginning, he followed the foundation building steps he knew and used the marrow cleansing pill in his hand to temper his body. Although this step was a bit painful, the overall process was relatively smooth. Although it was a bit difficult to temper the bones and marrow for more than 10 days, Song Qingming, who had been practicing Taoism for many years, had already experienced this level of physical pain several times. The marrow cleansing pill is a spiritual pill that only works best on the cultivator's body when it is taken for the first time. If you take it again, it will basically have no effect. Generally, cultivators will only take one such spiritual pill in their lifetime. After tempering his body, Song Qingming did not delay. After adjusting his mana to the best state, Song Qingming also began the formal first step of building his foundation. The first step for a cultivator to build his foundation is to wash the marrow and change the muscles through the meridians with the mana in his body. Although this is similar to the effect of refining the marrow cleansing pill, the process and results are different. The marrow cleansing pill only helps the cultivator to temper his own bone marrow through the power of the pill, so as to improve the strength of the cultivator's body from the inside. The step of the monk's foundation building marrow washing and tendon changing is to penetrate all of his own mana into the tiny meridians and blood vessels of his limbs and bones. Not only the bone marrow, but also every inch of the monk's flesh and blood will undergo a thorough cleansing. Only after passing this step can the monk's flesh have a qualitative leap, thus reaching the level of the flesh that only the foundation building monks have. Although Su Ziyan had reminded him in advance that it would be very uncomfortable to wash the marrow and change the tendons, Song Qingming did not expect that this process would be so painful, as if he had experienced a long period of severe torture. The process of washing the marrow and changing the tendons is not only very painful, but also extremely slow. It takes at least half a month to complete. Every inch of flesh and blood that the mana penetrates is like being constantly scraped and bitten by someone. Before long, Song Qingming's whole body was in pain, and beads of sweat broke out involuntarily. In the world of immortal cultivation, at least 60% of the monks who failed to break through the foundation building stage fell at this first step. This level is not only very difficult, but also very dangerous. If you are not careful, you can easily hurt your body. A few days later, Song Qingming, who had just refined less than a quarter of his body, felt that he could not hold on any longer, so he immediately took the foundation building pill that he had prepared. After the pill entered his body, the effect of the medicine took effect very quickly. In an instant, Song Qingming felt a hint of warmth coming from his dantian, which immediately relieved him of a little pain. The huge spiritual power contained in the foundation building pill also helped him speed up the speed of his body refining. It was not until more than 10 days later that Song Qingming's body was slowly covered with a layer of excess substances refined from his body, and this completed the step of marrow washing and muscle change. Fortunately, Song Qingming had taken the marrow washing pill before, which had strengthened his physical strength, and with the help of the foundation building pill, he passed the first stage of foundation building without any danger. However, when it came to the second stage, the step of condensing Qi, he was not so smooth. Qi condensation is to condense all the mana in the cultivator's body into the dantian, and through continuous contraction, the mana is condensed from the original gaseous state to the liquid state. As long as the cultivator passes this step, he has already stepped into the foundation building realm. According to his own summary and the experience taught by Su Ziyan, Song Qingming tried several times in succession, but failed. Until the first foundation building pill was completely exhausted, he just touched a little bit of the doorway. Fortunately, Song Qingming has passed the most difficult first step of washing marrow and changing tendons. Although it is easy to fail in the Qi condensation stage, with the protection of the foundation building pill, it will basically not hurt the cultivator's own dantian. After experiencing a failure, Song Qingming was not discouraged. After repolishing his mana, he decisively took the second foundation building pill with a feeling he had already grasped. After having a certain amount of experience, Song Qingming finally did not let himself down this time. He successfully completed the second stage and successfully condensed the huge mana in the dantian into a liquefied state. When it came to the third level of foundation building, forging the soul, it was smoother than Song Qingming expected. This level mainly strengthened the soul in the body of the cultivator. It might be because Song Qingming had practiced a soul forging technique, so the soul in his body was already quite strong. Although Song Qingming spent a lot of time to temper the soul at this level, he basically did not encounter any major bottlenecks and smoothly raised the soul to the foundation building level. Unexpectedly, practicing the soul technique would be helpful for foundation building, which was somewhat beyond Song Qingming's expectations. Although practicing the soul technique is not that easy, it is useful for foundation building after all. Song Qingming was a little confused. Why are there still not many people practicing the soul technique in the world of immortal cultivation? However, after he came out of the retreat and communicated with Su Ziyan, he soon understood that the most difficult part of the foundation building for cultivators was the first 2 levels. Very few people would fail at the 3rd level when building the foundation. Generally, Qi refining cultivators deliberately spent too much time practicing the soul technique. It would be better for them to focus on raising resources for foundation building. After nearly a year, Song Qingming stumbled and finally succeeded in building his foundation without any danger. It has been 3 years since he left home and came to Xiaoyao sect. Now that Song Qingming has successfully built his foundation, he is naturally very eager to tell the Song family members who are thousands of miles away about this good news. After exchanging foundation building experiences with Su Ziyan for a few days, Song Qingming was also ready to leave Xiaoyao sect. After bidding farewell to Su Ziyan, Song Qingming returned to his own cave in Yangshanfang, packed up his things, and returned to the rented cave. Song Qingming immediately set off to return to Qing County. When leaving Xiaoyao sect, Su Ziyan unexpectedly made a request to Song Qingming, asking him to bring her another Huayan pill when he comes next time, saying that it is for a good friend. Song Qingming happened to have 2 more, so he simply gave them all to her. Anyway, this thing was of no use to him, and he kept it with him to give it to others. Unexpectedly, Su Ziyan was very happy when she saw Song Qingming take out the Huayan pill, which made Song Qingming almost confused. He didn't know whether she liked it or not. After building the foundation, Song Qingming first learned the art of flying with a sword. It was thousands of miles from Xiaoyao sect to Qing County, and it just came in handy. In the past few years in Xiaoyao sect, Song Qingming also experienced flying in the air several times with Su Ziyan. He yearned for this kind of flying ability that only high-level cultivators could use. Now he finally achieved this wish and could travel alone between heaven and earth. Chapter 142 The Old Patriarch Departs. When he came to Xiaoyao sect 3 years ago, Song Qingming was only a 9th level Qi refining cultivator. He walked for a month to reach Yangshanfang purely on his own. Now, Song Qingming, who is flying high in the sky with a flying sword under his feet, overlooks the beautiful scenery below. He has finally experienced the pleasure that only high-level cultivators in the world of immortal cultivation can have. Song Qingming, who has just stepped into the path of cultivation, is not looking forward to some illusory immortality, but to be able to soar freely in the sky and see all the beautiful scenery in the world like the high-level cultivators recorded in the classics. Freely walking on the flying sword, this is the immortal path he wanted most. The most important step for a foundation-building cultivator to fly with a sword is to attach his physical body to the spiritual light of the ritual artifact, so that he can control the flying sword at will. However, if you want to fly with a sword, it is better to have a flying sword of level 2 or above. However, Song Qingming has just built his foundation, and he is really poor, and the only level 2 defensive magic weapon cannot be used as a flying sword. For this reason, Song Qingming could only temporarily purchase a first-grade flying sword in Yangshanfeng as a substitute. The spiritual light on the first-grade flying sword is limited, and it can only support one person standing on it at most. The speed is not as fast as the second-grade flying sword. If Song Qingming wants to travel as fast as Su Ziyan, he will have to get a second-grade flying sword in the future. In any case, more than 30 years have passed since he stepped into the immortal path. At the age of 10, Song Qingming has finally achieved his long-cherished wish. Touching the incomplete map that was still sewn on his chest, Song Qingming couldn't help but feel a little emotional. It's really not easy for him to come all the way now. In Funiu, in the meeting hall of the Song family, the clan leader Song Changfang was discussing clan affairs with several elders of the Song family. Unexpectedly, before they finished speaking, a teenager of 17 or 18 suddenly rushed in from the door. 13th uncle, seeing that there was more than one person sitting in the meeting hall, the teenager instantly blocked his mouth and couldn't say the rest of the words. Xinhu, tell me quickly. What happened? Seeing Song Xinhu with a panicked face, the law enforcement elder Song Changshan, who didn't know the reason, asked quickly with a displeased look on his face. The clan leader Song Changfang also asked the young man in a low voice, but Lingyuan Mountain was attacked by monsters again. Song Xinhu shook his head and replied, it's Uncle Qi who is back and has already gone up the mountain. Song Changfang smiled and nodded and said to everyone, since Qingming is back, everyone follow me to welcome him. Let's discuss this matter later. It's also good to listen to Qingming's opinion. It's just that Qingming is back. Why are you so nervous? You have been practicing for so long. Can you be a little more promising? Facing the honest Song Xinhu, Song Changshan sighed and shook his head, and followed everyone out of the meeting room. As soon as everyone walked out of the meeting room, they didn't expect that a sword light suddenly flew over the sky behind the meeting room. And after a circle in front of the meeting room, it landed steadily. After Song Qingming put away the flying sword under his feet, he walked towards the Song family with a smile on his face. Flying with a sword, you are Qingming. After Song Changshan saw the person coming from the front, his eyes suddenly widened and he couldn't help shouting. The others also opened their mouths wide after seeing Song Qingming. Uncle 13, it's only been a few years, can't you recognize me? Song Qingming walked in front of the crowd and smiled at Song Changshan, who had a dull face. Song Changfang looked at Song Qingming, who had become a foundation-building cultivator. His eyes suddenly turned red, and after shedding 2 long-lost tears, he slowly said, "It's a pity that fourth uncle didn't see this day." In the Song family cemetery on the back mountain of Funiu, Song Qingming, who had just returned, looked at the newly erected tombstone in front of him, and couldn't help feeling very uncomfortable. Fourth uncle was unconscious half a year ago, and would occasionally wake up for a while. He passed away in the cave 3 months ago. The older generation of them talked about revitalizing the family the most until they died. Fortunately, you can finally complete the wishes of these elders. After Song Changfang finished speaking, he walked forward and poured a glass of wine on the tombstone of the old patriarch. Song Qingming went to Xiaoyao sect this time, but he accidentally missed the last meeting with the old patriarch. After building the foundation, the reason why Song Qingming was so anxious to come back was that he wanted to come back to see the old patriarch as soon as possible, but he didn't expect that he was still a step late. Since the death of the great elder, including his own father, Song Qingming has lost several elders who are very important to him. The old patriarch has worked hard to support the Song family for decades. In the hearts of Song Qingming and other younger generations, he and the great elder were the greatest support for the Song family. Now that the old generation of cultivators have basically left, it is their turn to stand up and protect the descendants of the Song family from wind and rain. After paying respects to the old patriarch, Song Qingming collected himself and returned to his cave. Just after returning to the cave on the top of the mountain, Song Qingyu and Song Qingxi, who had not been seen for several years, came to visit again. Seventh brother, congratulations on your successful foundation building. Seeing Song Qingming, who had become a foundation-building cultivator, Song Qingyu seemed to be a little disappointed. Song Qingming looked at the two carefully and said, "You have broken through the late stage of Qi refining. You have been practicing diligently in the past few years. Qingxi, how is your formation learning now? How many formations can you set up now?" "I can only barely set up some simple formations, but I am already quite proficient in the spirit-gathering formation." Seeing his half-master, Song Qingxi answered a little shyly. Song Qingming nodded and continued, "Is there something you two coming to see me about?" "Seventh brother, it's like this, we want to ask you for a favor, and it's a very simple thing for you. Tell me what you want to say first." Before Song Qingyu finished speaking, Song Qingming interrupted her and asked her to get to the point. Song Qingyu stuck out her tongue helplessly and continued, "Qingxi and I bought a spirit beast egg in Qinghofang. We tried several times but failed to hatch it. Uncle Jiu said that this spirit beast egg requires someone with profound magic power and continuous use of spiritual power to catalyze it in order to hatch quickly. Seventh brother, you are already a foundation-building cultivator, I think you can definitely do it." After listening, Song Qingming shook his head and said, "Do you two want me to be your laborer? I'm a foundation-building cultivator, don't I need to practice?" "Seventh brother, just help us try. For the spirit beast egg, my 10th sister and I spent more than 100 spirit stones. If it fails to hatch, we will lose a lot. You guys take it out first. I want to see what kind of spirit beast egg can cheat you of so many spirit stones." Seeing that Song Qingxi, who had never asked him for help before, also had a pleading look on his face, Song Qingming hesitated for a moment but still couldn't bear to refuse again. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143, Stormy. Funiu Mountain, in the Wang family meeting room. A dozen of the Wang family's late Qi refining cultivators were standing obediently in front of the two foundation-building ancestors. Have you found out the situation of the person in the Song family who suddenly built a foundation? In response to the two ancestors' inquiries, an older man in the crowd hurried out and replied, "Report to the ancestors, we have already found out on the past 2 days that the person who just built a foundation in the Song family is named Song Qingming. This person is a cultivator of the Song family's Qing generation. Judging from the fact that he only cultivated to the 9th level of Qi refining in his 40s, it is estimated that he should be a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots. 3 spiritual roots to build a foundation. It's not bad luck, but why have I never heard of this name? Did the clan leader specifically tell you to pay more attention to the talented cultivators in the vassal families below?" Wang Chenglian, with a dignified face, asked again thoughtfully. Hearing the ancestors' questions, the dozen or so Wang family cultivators below suddenly became a little nervous. For a moment, they looked at each other, not knowing how to answer. Seeing that no one spoke, the old man who had just taken the lead in answering could only bite the bullet and continue answering. "The most talented cultivator in the Song family is named Song Kings. We have actually been paying attention to him all these years. He left the Song family and joined the Xiaoyao sect many years ago. I'm asking about the one who has already established his foundation. Why are you talking about other people? Has none of you come into contact with this person in all these years?" Wang Chenglian interrupted the old man with some displeasure, and his tiger eyes turned and swept towards the others. "Report to the ancestor, when the family conquered Qifan Mountain 7 years ago, Song Qingming was recruited by us to participate in that great battle. I met this person when I received the Song family cultivators at that time, but his cultivation level was only the 8th level of Qi refining. In that battle, the Song family cultivators performed very averagely and did not attract my attention much. Later, when the monsters were in chaos, Song Qingming also followed us to Funiu Mountain, and his performance was also mediocre. I did not expect that after not seeing him for a few years, this boy would have established his foundation." The person who stood up to speak was Wang Xianlong, who had received the Song family cultivators in Wufang Mountain. This man had known the current patriarch of the Song family, Song Changfeng, for many years and had some friendship with him. Another middle-aged man went on to say, "We have also investigated Song Qingming's recent situation in the past few days. 1 year after the monster rebellion, this man suddenly left Qing County and seemed to have gone to Xiaoyao sect. When he returned to Qing County last month, he was already a foundation-building cultivator." Hearing this, Wang Shengaiyu, another foundation-building ancestor of the Wang family who had not spoken, suddenly said, "Uncle San, this Song Qingming should have successfully built his foundation near Xiaoyao sect. Please send a message to Uncle 19 and ask him to help inquire in the sect about what kind of foundation-building spiritual object Song Qingming got and how he built his foundation." Wang Chenglian nodded and agreed to this matter, and then said, "Shengaiyu, the clan leader is still in seclusion, and it is not convenient for me to move around. You should go to the Song family and pay attention to what kind of talent this kid has and whether he can continue to be used by our Wang family in the future." Wang Shengaiyu nodded and said, "Don't worry, Uncle San, I will prepare for this matter." King Hufang, in a secret room behind the Gao family restaurant. Gao Jin, the head of the Gao family, looked at a young man in front of him with a smile and said slowly, "Friend Lu, you should have heard that not long ago, Qing County had another foundation-building cultivator. I think we may have another helper." "Brother Gao, what do you mean by this? Please be more specific." The other young man who spoke was Lu Xing, the head of the Lu family, another foundation-building family in Qing County. Gao Jin paused and said, "I also learned about it not long ago. My daughter Yuiao is about the same age as this fellow Taoist from the Song family who has just established his foundation. We have had a friendship before. I am willing to come forward and try to see if I can pull him over to our side." Hearing this, Lu Xing said with a look of surprise, "Brother Gao, our two families have been suppressed by the Wang family for many years, and most of the resources in Qing County are also occupied by the Wang family. We have no other choice but to be angry and swallow our anger over the years. Now there is a rare opportunity. Brother Gao, please make good use of it. As long as this can be accomplished, my Lu family will definitely follow the lead of the Gao family in the future." The Lu family only has Lu Xing, a foundation-building cultivator. He has only been building his foundation for more than 40 years, and his cultivation level is only the 3rd level. In Qing County, the Liu family occupies the southeast side. There are not many cultivation resources in the territory, and they need to face the suppression of the huge Wang family from time to time. Liu Xing, who has always been cautious, decisively chose to hug the Gao family and resist the Wang family's step-by-step pressure. Chifeng Ridge, Jin family. Jin Guangyao looked at the remaining dozen monks below, and said slowly with some pain on his face, I did make a wrong step when I chose to move the family here. Although we are now protected by the mountain protection formation, there are only a few members left. What's the point of guarding this empty spiritual vein? I have decided that my whole family will join Xiaoyao sect in the future, and the spiritual vein here will be handed over in exchange for some resources to be distributed to everyone. Those who are willing to go to Xiaoyao sect with me can follow me, and those who are not willing can return to the ancestral land of Lingyuan Mountain. However, you will be thousands of miles away from me in the future, and you will not be able to rely on me anymore. The Jin family monks below shed tears when they heard that the patriarch was going to give up this place and join Xiaoyao sect, but they were weak, and it was difficult to change the patriarch's mind even if they asked to stay, so they could only be sad. The Jin family has been established in Qing County for hundreds of years. Unexpectedly, someone in the family had just built a foundation and was about to usher in a good development period, but suddenly suffered a devastating disaster from the monster rebellion, and all the mortals under their rule were killed or injured. Now even the family is difficult to continue. Song Qingming, who is in Funiu Mountain, did not know that with his return from building his foundation, the situation in Qing County was undergoing some subtle changes. Since Song Qingming gave him a colorful spirit beast tag, he has been studying it in his cave for more than half a month, but still has no clue. From the bright appearance of this spirit beast tag, it should not be a dead object. He looked up a lot of information, but still could not find a way to hatch this spirit beast egg. He also tried to use mana to catalyze it, but also did not see any effect, which made him a little discouraged. I really didn't expect that. I had just built my foundation and had not had time to show off in front of the tribe members, and I would encounter such a big problem. If these two little girls knew that they were powerless, they would not know where to put their faces. Just when Song Qingming was thinking hard and could not figure it out, a voice suddenly came in from outside the cave. When he opened it, he realized that it was the tribe leader who asked him to go to the meeting room. Song Qingming could only temporarily abandon the matter of the spirit beast tag and walked out of the cave gate. There will be some problems in the next chapter, please read it later. Chapter 144 Two Happy Events. Song Qingming, who had just arrived at the Song family meeting room, found that the clan leader Song Changfeng and several elders had been waiting here for a long time. The seat of the clan leader at the top was empty for some reason. Song Changfeng added another chair and sat a little further away. Sixth uncle, what are you doing? Qingming, you are now the only foundation building cultivator in the clan. The position of clan leader should be handed over to you. I have discussed this with several elders and no one has any objection. According to the traditional rules of the Uyghur cultivation world, the position of clan leader of each major cultivation family is handed over to the cultivator with the highest cultivation in the entire family. After all, the cultivation world has always been the strong who are respected. Song Qingming still knows this. Although Song Qingming has not completely gotten used to his current identity as a foundation-building cultivator, he has been back for more than half a month and has more or less felt the change in the attitude of some clan members towards him. The clan leader and several elders in the meeting room are basically elders he is familiar with. Now the look in their eyes when looking at Song Qingming also makes him feel that it is different from before. Sixth uncle, it's not that I don't want to be the patriarch, but I don't know enough about managing the family affairs. It's better to wait until I am familiar with it before talking about this matter. Since you said so, I can help you manage it first, but you still have to sit on this chair prepared for you first. Before you take over as the patriarch, you still have to serve as the chief elder of the family. From now on, starting with us elders, the family must also pay attention to some rules of the cultivation world, so that when the clan members go down the mountain and see other foundation-building cultivators, they don't know the difference between the superior and the inferior, and cause trouble for no reason. The clan members on the mountain are all people Song Qingming is familiar with. Everyone, including himself, has not felt too much of the change in his identity as a foundation-building cultivator. When talking to him, they still treat him as a peer or junior as usual. This is also because the Song family has not produced a foundation-building cultivator for hundreds of years. It is normal that everyone did not react at once. Otherwise, if it were in other cultivation families that had foundation building cultivators, such a thing would never happen. After hearing what Song Changfeng said, Song Qingming did not hesitate this time and sat directly forward to the seat at the head. After Song Qingming sat down, Song Changfeng slowly spoke to everyone. The reason why I invited everyone here this time is because I received a letter from the Wang family yesterday. The Wang family's ancestor Wang Shanghai will visit our Funiu Mountain in a few days. Everyone, tell me what their purpose is this time. What other purpose can there be? They must be coming for Qingming. I guess they still want to win us over like the Jin family. The 13th uncle Song Changshan, who has always been straightforward, quickly expressed his thoughts. Changshan is right. I think they should mean the same thing. After all, we were originally vassals of the Wang family. I just don't know what conditions they will give this time. The 5th aunt Song Changling, the elder of the family's general affairs, also echoed. Song Changfeng nodded and continued, now that everyone knows the purpose of the Wang family to win us over, we still need to ask for everyone's opinions. Should we continue to stand with the Wang family like the Jin family? The Jin family almost died with the Wang family. I think we should weigh it. When the Wang family comes tomorrow, we will see what conditions they can offer. If they don't like us, we can also stand on the side of the Gao family. We can't do this. The Wang family is so powerful. I heard that Wang Shangxin is already in seclusion to form a pill. If we don't have a clear attitude, we may suffer a great loss in the future. Everyone talked and discussed for a long time, and finally chose to stand with the Wang family. Song Qingming also agreed with this result. After all, the Wang family is now powerful. As far as the Song family is concerned, Song Qingming has just built his foundation and does not have many chips to put on the stage to influence the situation of the entire Qing County. Making a safer choice at the moment is what Song Qingming wants most. Just as everyone made the decision, another invitation was sent to Mount Lingyuan. However, this time it was not for Song Changfeng, the head of the Song family, but was specifically for Song Qingming. After opening it, he found that it was a letter from the Gao family, inviting him to King Hefeng for a gathering. Song Qingming looked at the 3 words Gao Yuiao written on the signature of the letter, hesitated for a moment, shook his head, and handed the letter directly to Song Changfeng. Tell your 4th uncle to go to Gao's restaurant and reply that I will be in seclusion recently and cannot go to the appointment. 3 days later, a swordlight flew over Mount Lingyuan, and a young woman in white came to the welcoming pavilion at the foot of Mount Lingyuan on a flying sword. The Song family cultivator, who was guarding the mountain, saw this scene and bowed to the ground immediately. Hello, senior. The clan leader is waiting in the meeting room. Please follow me up the mountain. The young woman in white nodded and smiled, led the way. At the same time, Song Qingming and other Song family cultivators who received the news quickly gathered in the family meeting room. Seeing Wang Shanghai, who was dressed in white, coming over, Song Changfeng hurriedly took Song Qingming and other Song family members out of the meeting room to greet him. Senior, you have condescended to come here. It is really an honor for our Funiu Mountain. We haven't had a distinguished guest on the mountain for many years. Our Song family is not well prepared. Please don't be disgusted. Come to the hall to have a chat. Wang Shanghai waved her hand and said, Song clan leader, you are too polite. Although I have been in seclusion for many years and rarely go out, our 2 families have been one for many years. I came here to take a look. It is also next door to my family. How can I be disgusted? After the 2 exchanged a few words outside, Song Changfeng respectfully welcomed Wang Shanghai into the meeting room. Senior, these are a few strains of spiritual tea cultivated by my Song family. I'm afraid they are not to your liking, so please forgive me. After Wang Shanghai sat down, he picked up the spiritual tea at hand, took a sip and nodded. Then looked at Song Qingming, who was sitting next to Song Changfeng, and said, I guess this is the young friend Song Qingming who just established his foundation not long ago. I didn't expect that you still look so young. You really have a bright future. After hearing this, Song Qingming quickly stood up, saluted and said, Qingming, meet you, Senior Wang. I am dull in talent and was lucky enough to establish my foundation with the help of noble people. Please don't misunderstand me. Young friend Song has already established his foundation and become a member of our generation, so there is no need to address you as a senior. Before leaving, I inquired with my friends in Zioao sect and learned that young friend Song had made great contributions to the sect and was given the opportunity by Master Li. It is really enviable for people like me who have been practicing hard to have this opportunity. This time I am visiting Funiu Mountain on behalf of the Wang family for two main reasons. One is to congratulate fellow Taoist Song, and the other is to remind you of something. Update later. Chapter 145 Reminder. Please teach me, ancestor. My Song family will be grateful. Wang Shengai looked around the hall after hearing Song Changfang's reply. She smiled but did not speak immediately. Seeing this, Song Changfang waved to the elders of the Song family beside him. Soon, only Wang Shengai, Song Qingming and Song Changfang were left in the hall. You two may not know that the Qingming Jin family is ready to leave Qing County and join the Xiaoyao sect. After everyone else left, Wang Shengaiyu's first words shocked the two Song family members. After Song Changfang and Song Qingming looked at each other, they turned to Wang Shengaiyu and asked, "Hasn't the Jin family repaired the mountain protection formation? Why did they leave Qing County?" Wang Shengaiyu shook her head and said, "To be honest, we don't know why the Jin family left. Jin Guangyao and Xiaoyao sect have had contact several times, and we only learned about this not long ago. Although this matter is of great importance, it has nothing to do with our Song family. The ancestor came here today to explain this matter, and the younger generation really doesn't understand it enough. If you have any instructions, please let the ancestor know clearly, and the Song family will do their best to serve." Song Changfang asked directly with some confusion. Wang Shengaiyu smiled and said, "Fellow Taoist Song is too polite. Now that fellow Taoist Qingming has established his foundation, after the next meeting in Qinghofang, your Song family will be officially promoted to foundation-building family. From now on, our two families will be equal immortal cultivation families in Qing County. You can't talk like this anymore, otherwise if other immortal cultivation families know about it, they will say that my Wang family is overbearing. On the surface, whether the Jin family wants to leave Qing County does not really matter to us, but once they leave, the second-level spiritual vein of Funiu Mountain will be vacant. I came here today because my family leader asked me to ask you all, after the Jin family leaves, does your Song family intend to take over the spiritual vein of Funiu Mountain?" After saying that, Wang Shengaiyu took a sip of tea with a calm face, waiting for the reply from Song Changfang and Song Qingming. So that's what happened. After hearing this, Song Qingming finally knew the purpose of Wang Shengaiyu's visit. It seemed that she came here today for the spiritual vein of Funiu Mountain. Now that Song Qingming has established his foundation, the best spiritual vein of the Song family is only the first-grade upper-grade spiritual vein of Funiu Mountain, which is definitely not enough for his future cultivation. If he wants to improve his cultivation normally, he must find a way to cultivate a second-grade spiritual vein. Cultivating a second-grade spiritual vein is not a simple matter. The spiritual stones invested alone must be at least tens of thousands, which is almost catching up with the price of a foundation-building pill. For the current Song family, it is definitely impossible to afford this. If Song Qingming wants to avoid delaying his own cultivation, he can only think of other second-grade spiritual veins like the Jin family did in the past. The best spiritual vein in Qing County is the Taiyuan Mountain spiritual vein of the Wang family, which has reached the second-grade upper grade. The second is the two second-grade middle-grade spiritual veins of Qinghofang and the Lotus Mountain of the Gao family. The remaining 7 or 8 second-grade lower-grade spiritual veins have long been owned by owners. The owners of these spiritual veins are either foundation-building families like the Jin family and the Lu family, or like the Liu family in the past, whose ancestors have had foundation-building cultivators. The reason why these Qi Refining families, whose ancestors had foundation-building monks, could still occupy the second-level spiritual veins was undoubtedly because the foundation-building ancestors left behind very deep foundations before they passed away. Although they could no longer restore the glory of their ancestors, they could still force back ordinary foundation-building monks with a second-level mountain protection formation. The Song family wanted to take advantage of these spiritual veins, but it was obviously not enough to rely on Song Qingming, who had just built his foundation. The remaining ones were the spiritual veins near Yunwu Mountain where monsters lived. Most of these places were too close to Yunwu Mountain, and monsters and miasma were rampant and not suitable for mortals to survive. Only the Chifan Ridge of the Jin family was better. Not only was the quality of the spiritual veins not low, but the mountain had been operated by the Jin family for more than 7 years, and a lot of fertile fields had been opened up, and it was now very suitable for mortals to live. Now that the Jin family is leaving Qing County, the Chifan Mountain, A second-level spiritual vein must be sold to other families in Qing County. As long as Song Qingming is willing to come, he might be able to negotiate the matter by spending 2,000 or 3,000 spiritual stones. Funiu Mountain is undoubtedly the most suitable second-level spiritual vein for the Song family in Qing County. However, Wang Shengaiyu came to Funiu Mountain to remind the Song family of this matter. It is obvious that the Wang family also has their eyes on this spiritual vein. If Song Qingming still wants Funiu Mountain, he will definitely offend the Wang family and stand on the opposite side of them. Wang Shengaiyu now deliberately said this directly to Song Qingming's face, obviously also wanting to see in person what Song Qingming, who has now established his foundation, thinks of their Wang family. Fellow Taoist Wang, you are too suspicious. The Jin family has not contacted us. The family has almost used up all their savings over the years to support me in building my foundation. How dare we have any ideas about Qi Mountain? After I came back, I encountered some problems in my cultivation and have been in seclusion and have not left the mountain. We just learned from fellow Taoist Wang that the Jin family is leaving. After figuring out the matter, Song Qingming did not wait for Song Chengfang to speak, and decisively spoke to dispel Wang Shengaiyu's doubts about the Song family. After hearing the satisfactory answer, Wang Shengaiyu looked at Song Qingming with joy and said, "In this case, fellow Taoist Song has no intention of interfering in the affairs of Qi Mountain." Song Qingming nodded to Wang Shengaiyu sincerely and said nothing more. 2 months later, King Hofang should call all the major families to discuss matters. According to the convention, our clan leader will also come out of retreat. If you still have doubts about cultivation, you can also come to my Wang family shop to ask our clan leader for advice. I have to go somewhere else today, so I won't bother you here anymore. After Wang Shengaiyu said this, he stood up and said goodbye, leaving Funiu Mountain. After seeing Wang Shengaiyu off, Song Qingming also returned to his cave. He looked at the spirit beast Tig that he had studied for more than 10 days for a while. In addition to knowing that it should be a bird spirit beast Tig, Song Qingming still had no other clues. Next time I go to King Hofang to meet the Wang family, I will take it out and ask them. After muttering to himself, Song Qingming carefully put it back into the storage bag. Next, Song Qingming took out the Yuxun Sutra of the technique hidden in his body and prepared to start daily practice. Since entering the foundation building period, Song Qingming finally opened the restrictions behind this technique. Not only did he get the techniques for the subsequent foundation building period, he also discovered many mysteries in it. However, this technique can only be practiced to the golden core period, and there are no restrictions for the subsequent techniques. The Yuxun Sutra technique is mediocre when practiced in the Qi refining period. Except for making his magic power stronger, there is nothing special about it. When fighting, he can only rely on some ordinary spells, which is not as useful as the Qinilju he originally practiced. After obtaining the foundation building period technique, Song Qingming opened it and found that there were several powerful spells hidden in the Yuxun Sutra foundation building period technique, which really surprised him. Chapter 146, Hidden Yuan Technique. From the foundation building techniques of the Yuxun Sutra, Song Qingming found a total of 3 spells that were more important to him. The first spell that Song Qingming practiced was called Zhuanguangjia. After practicing this spell, he could transform the mana in his body into a layer of light armor attached to his body. In addition to its outstanding defensive ability, this spell would not affect the cultivator's own body movements at all when used. Its effect was far beyond the comparison of those more cumbersome defensive spells that Song Qingming practiced in Qinilju. Zhuanguangjia. This spell was not difficult to practice in the early stage. After practicing for a few months, Song Qingming was able to manifest a trace of light armor on his identity. He secretly tested it with the white tiger puppet beast and found that the defensive ability was okay, but he had not really used it against the enemy yet, so he did not know how powerful it was. Not only that, as the cultivation of the cultivator deepens, the Zhuanguang armor will continue to strengthen the mana in the body, making the defensive ability of this defensive spell stronger and stronger. It is the most powerful defensive spell that Song Qingming has at present, in addition to defensive magic tools and talismans. With this defensive technique that can be activated instantly, Song Qingming will be more confident in defending against sneak attacks in the future. The second spell is an offensive spell called the Invisible Jade Wind Needle. It is a spell that uses the mana in the body to transform into transparent jade needles, like light, to launch a sneak attack on the enemy. This kind of jade needle-like light is condensed from mana. When it is first refined, the killing power is not great. Once the opponent knows it in advance or has been exposed, it is easy to defend. Generally, it is difficult to kill a cultivator without hitting the fatal part directly. At most, you can only rely on sneak attacks and surprise to hurt the opponent. However, after the refining is completed, the jade needles transformed by the mana can be as hard as iron spikes. Even if the opponent is prepared, as long as the mana is strong enough, it can directly penetrate the opponent's body barrier and defensive armor shield. Although this spell requires a higher level of practice, Song Qingming can now condense 2 jade needles after a period of trial. As long as he is given more time, he should be able to practice this spell to perfection. Among the spells in the Yuxin Sutra, the one that surprised Song Qingming the most was the last spell. When he saw this spell, he was so nervous that he was stunned for half an instant of time before he calmed down. He never thought that after the successful practice of this last spell, there would be a way to improve the effect of some cultivators' future dam formation. Such a wonderful spell is actually hidden in this ordinary Yuxin Sutra. In the world of cultivating immortals, it is much more difficult for foundation-building cultivators to form a golden elixir than for Qi refining cultivators to build a foundation. When a cultivator builds his foundation, he can rely on spiritual objects such as the foundation-building pill. Even if your aptitude is poor, as long as there is sufficient supply of resources, you can theoretically build your foundation. But it is different for forming a golden pill. There are not many spiritual medicines that assist in forming a golden pill in the world of immortal cultivation. Except for cultivators with extraordinary aptitudes such as the heavenly spiritual root, who do not need to worry about forming a golden pill, ordinary cultivators can mainly rely on skills and opportunities to form a golden pill. The spiritual objects that can assist in forming a golden pill are not only very rare, but also far less effective than the effect of the foundation-building pill on the foundation. Generally, those skills that are very helpful for forming a golden pill are basically hidden in those large unyielding septs. It is difficult for ordinary casual cultivators to access these skills. This is why it is difficult for ordinary immortal cultivation families and casual cultivators to have cultivators refine golden pills. This spell in the Yuxin Sutra is called the Qingming spell. After successful cultivation, it can hide part of the mana in the danshan in your body into the internal organs of the 5 internal organs. These mana cannot be taken out and used casually. You can only use these mana to protect these important organs in your body and improve your survival ability. When the cultivators form the golden elixir, they need to mobilize a large amount of their own mana to compress the true essence. These mana can return to the elixir field at any time to help the cultivators condense the golden elixir. It is a secret technique that helps the cultivators form the golden elixir. Once this spell is practiced to perfection, there should be about a 20% chance of helping the cultivators form the golden elixir. This is probably comparable to the secret techniques of forming the golden elixir hidden in some large sects. A long time ago, before he established his foundation, Song Qingming had inquired about some things about forming the golden elixir. According to what those people in the market said, it is estimated that only the Xiaoyao sect in the entire Wei Kingdom has a technique that helps to form the golden elixir. If he wants to form the golden elixir in the future, he will probably have to find a way to join the Xiaoyao sect unexpectedly. The Yuxin Sutra that he suddenly obtained helped him solve this problem so quickly. At first, Song Qingming was shocked and ecstatic after seeing this spell. He didn't expect that this technique that he accidentally got in Guianfang would actually hide such a powerful spell. Now the more Song Qingming thought about it, the more he felt that the 2 monks who sold him the Taixu sword, although they looked very ordinary, were definitely not the 2 simple characters he had imagined. Otherwise, they would not have such a powerful technique in their hands. He just didn't know if he would be able to meet them again in the future. If he could meet them again, Song Qingming would definitely ask them clearly to see if he could get the subsequent techniques after the Jinden stage. It was not until he had practiced for many times and still failed to get started that he realized that he had underestimated the difficulty of this technique. The Qingming technique was not as easy to practice as he had imagined. He had started practicing since he successfully established his foundation in seclusion on Suzian Lingshan in Xiaoyao sect. It has been 2 or 3 months now, but he still has not been able to get started. Song Qingming gradually began to feel a little irritated. So he simply put down this spell and concentrated on practicing the other 2 techniques. It has been almost a month since he returned to Mount Funiu Mountain. He has few spirit stones left, and because he needs to use them for cultivation, Song Qingming has neither a second-level spirit vein for cultivation, nor a pill to improve his mana during the foundation building period. He can only concentrate on studying the spells in the Yuxin Sutra. Recently, because he has basically spent all his spirit stones on the foundation building period, he doesn't know when he will be able to make the money back. Now, except for a few magic tools and spirit talismans, he really has nothing. He doesn't even have a second-level flying sword for flying. As a foundation-building cultivator, it is too shabby. A foundation-building cultivator, without a second-level spirit vein, must refine at least more than 20 spirit stones every month to subsidize his cultivation. Song Qingming's spirit stones can't last too long. He plans to spend more time making talismans next. In any case, Song Qingming must find a way as soon as possible to get some spirit stones first. Chapter 147 The Supreme Elder. 2 months passed in a flash, and the Song family finally received news from King Hufang that Xiaoao sect invited all the major families in Qing County to go to King Hufang for a meeting. Before leaving, Song Qingming took some time off to return to Mujiao town to meet his long-lost family. It has been more than 3 years since he left home to go to Xiaoao sect to build his foundation. Song Qingming saw that his mother had more white hair on her head, and even his fourth brother had become a bearded old man. His nephew Song Yunshan, who he had watched grow up, was already as tall as him. At the beginning of the year, his fourth brother had already arranged a marriage for him. It is estimated that Song Qingming will become a grandfather in another year or two. In the entire Song family, only Song Qingming himself still looks the same as before. Because of the foundation building and refining of his body, Song Qingming now looks a little younger than he did 3 years ago. You, my child, left without saying goodbye. You haven't been home for several years, and suddenly you come back. I don't know if I can wait for you to come back next time you leave. Although Song's mother looks a little older, she is in better spirits than a few years ago. She is almost 70 years old, but she still insists on doing some chores in the yard every day. The older generation has suffered a lot, and even if they have a good life now, they will not forget the days of hard work. Song Qingming smiled and nodded, saying, during this long journey, I also bought some elixirs that are good for your health. I will give them to my fourth brother later and ask him to remind you to take them on time. I won't eat them anymore. I always bring back this kind of stuff. I'm buried up to my neck in the dirt, and you don't know how to spend some time to find something I like. I'd better go to see your father as soon as possible, otherwise your father, that damn ghost, will almost forget me. I'm going to the market in the east soon. Tell me what you like directly, so that I don't have to spend time guessing. Don't worry, as long as it's available in Qing County, I will definitely get it for you. Seeing that his mother was angry again, Song Qingming hurriedly raised his hand and said, Okay. Then help me find a daughter-in-law, King Hufang. In the past, when Song Qingming was still a Qi refining cultivator, it would take at least 2 or 3 days to come from Funiu. Now that he has built his foundation, he can fly on a sword. It took less than half a day for Song Qingming to get here. Several Xiaoao sect disciples stationed at the gate of the market town became nervous when they saw a sword light suddenly flying from the horizon. It was not until Song Qingming landed and put away his flying sword that they saw Song Qingming's face clearly and then stepped forward to bow and salute. It turns out that Senior Song from Funiu is here. We are here to show our respect. Song Qingming smiled and waved his hand, saying, No need to be polite. I came here to discuss matters at the invitation of fellow Taoist Lu. The fellow Taoist Lu mentioned by Song Qingming was the foundation building cultivator sent by Xiaoao sect to guard and manage King. He had been here as a garrison cultivator for nearly 50 years. Before Song Qingming was born, he was already an important figure in Qing County. Master has been in the meeting hall of the market these days, waiting for the arrival of the seniors. Senior Song, please go in first. The leader of the group, a cultivator in the late stage of Qi refining, happened to be Lu Yuanfeng's disciple. The reason why they recognized Song Qingming so quickly was because he had seen Song Qingming's portrait at Lu Yuanfeng's place not long ago. Song Qingming nodded, said nothing more, and walked straight into King Hufang. After entering the market, Song Qingming did not rush to find Lu Yuanfeng, but went to the Song family shop on the west side of the market first. Although the number of cultivators coming and going in the market has not increased much in the past few years, the business in the Song family shop is indeed much better than before. The alchemy skills of the second sister Song Qingwen have also improved greatly in the past few years. She is almost at the threshold of a top-grade alchemist. The elixirs she refines are not only very popular in the market, but also deeply loved by many cultivators of the Song family. In the clan, except for Song Qingming and the clan leader Song Changfeng, the other elders are not as prestigious as her. Although she is obsessed with alchemy and has not served as an elder, she has the final say in almost all matters related to the Song family and the market. I wanted to talk to my second sister, but I found that she was in seclusion refining the elixir. Song Qingming could only go to the back hall to see his fourth uncle. Seeing Song Qingming, who had already established his foundation, the slightly old Song Changqi was so excited that his face was full of tears. Qingming, when you came down the mountain, I knew you had extraordinary talent. I never thought you would succeed in building your foundation. From now on, our Song family will also be a foundation-building family. Third uncle, fourth uncle, and all the ancestors of the Song family, if they are still alive, they must be pleased. Song Qingming nodded calmly. Since he built his foundation, the elders and his family were really happy for him. After all, the Song family had moved to Qing County for 200 years and had been living a life of looking at other people's faces. Now that a foundation-building cultivator has finally appeared, they can at least hold their heads up a little higher in Qing County. I say, old man, you are crying and snotting, and it's not shameful. Isn't this a joke for the Supreme Elder? When the fourth aunt saw that the fourth uncle was so out of control, she quickly reminded him. You just know how to interrupt. I know you don't believe that I had such a good vision back then. If you don't believe me, ask Qingming. Did I say that he had extraordinary qualifications back then? The reason why Wang Zhonghua called Song Qingming the Grand Elder was because not long ago, the clan leader Song Changfeng found Song Qingming again to discuss matters and wanted to give up the position of clan leader again, but this time he was still rejected by Song Qingming. The Song family members discussed that this would not work. They couldn't let Song Qingming, a foundation-building cultivator, serve as an ordinary elder at home. So they came up with a solution and temporarily gave him the title of Grand Elder. Now, except for a few familiar elders in the clan, everyone has slowly started to call him that. To be honest, Song Qingming didn't care much about this title. He just didn't want to take over the family so quickly. After all, his sixth uncle had made great contributions as the clan leader in the past few years. In addition to Song Qingming's foundation building, the Song family has also been developing steadily in other places in the past few years. Now the income of the clan has exceeded that before the monster turmoil. Besides, sixth uncle Song Changfeng has been very good to Song Qingming over the years. When he was preparing for the spiritual stones to build his foundation in Yangshanfang, sixth uncle came from thousands of miles away to give him spiritual stones. Although it was not a lot, it was also an unforgettable touch in Song Qingming's heart. He felt a little bit uncomfortable in his heart to suddenly take the position of clan leader from sixth uncle. The title of Grand Elder is generally used by large sects. It is a position with power above the head of the sect generally. Small sects and immortal cultivation families rarely use this title. Generally, the highest power is directly in the hands of the clan leader. Chapter 148 King Meeting. After reminiscing with his fourth uncle, and seeing that his second sister had not yet come out of retreat, Song Qingming hurried to the meeting hall in the center of Qinghofang. As soon as he walked to the door, a disciple of Xiaoyao sect came up to greet him and took him in. When he got inside, he saw that in addition to Lu Yuanfeng, there were two foundation-building cultivators sitting here. When they saw Song Qingming coming in, they hurriedly stood up to greet him. Fellow Taoist Song is here. I am honored to see you today. Please take care of me in the future. The one who spoke was a cultivator who was a little older than him. This person's cultivation level had reached the third level of foundation building. Song Qingming had never seen him before. He should be the head of the Lu family, one of the 4 foundation-building families in Qing County. Song Qingming had seen the foundation-building cultivators of the Wang family, the Gao family, and the Jin family from afar, but only the head of the Lu family was someone Song Qingming had never seen before. Fellow Taoist Lu, fellow Taoist Gao, you are polite. After Song Qingming recognized them, he quickly returned the greeting to the two. Gao Jin and Lu Xing nodded and sat down again. Fellow Taoist Song, please come this way. I am Lu Yuanfeng from the Xiaoyao sect. An old bearded monk came forward and invited Song Qingming to sit on a chair that had been prepared. Song Qingming had met Lu Yuanfeng from King Hefeng twice when he lived in King Hefeng. He was a cultivator from the Xiaoao sect who had been building his foundation for many years. Although his cultivation was not high among the cultivators of the foundation building, his fighting skills were still very powerful among the cultivators of the middle stage of the foundation building. If they really fought, Gao Jin, the head of the Gao family who was at the 6th level of the foundation building, might not be his opponent. After Song Qingming sat down, more than half an hour later, Wang Shengxin, the head of the Wang family, walked in with a smile on his face. "Everyone, I've been waiting for a long time." As soon as Wang Shengxin came in, he saw that everyone was almost there, and he quickly said an apology. After hearing this, Lu Yuanfeng shook his head and said, "Brother Wang, it's not too late. Fellow Taoist Jin hasn't come yet." Wang Shengxin shook his head and said, "Fellow Taoist Jin's matter has been resolved. He asked us to tell you that he won't come again, is that so? Then let's not wait for him. Let's discuss the matter first." Lu Yuanfeng nodded and said, "The Wang family is really calculating. They swallowed up the Qifengling spiritual vein so easily." Lu Xingde, who was pretending to drink tea, took the opportunity to secretly send a message to Gao Jin. The latter smiled bitterly, shook his head and did not reply to him immediately. Lu Yuanfeng looked at the 4 people sitting below, and said with a serious face, "The first thing I did when I called everyone here today is that fellow Taoist Song has already established his foundation. From today on, the Song family of Funiu will be officially promoted to a foundation building family. The area within 100 miles around Funiu will be under the jurisdiction of the Song family. Similarly, you must also formally accept the sect's dispatch in the future and go to King Hefeng to pay tribute to the sect on a regular basis. The foundation building families in King County can automatically receive a portion of the shares in King Hefeng, and they also need to pay a certain amount of spirit stones to the Xiaoao sect on time. The more they get, the more tributes they will pay, but overall there is still some profit. The Song family is very grateful for the sect's kindness. Whenever the sect sends us orders in the future, the Song family will definitely not refuse." After Song Qingming heard Lu Yuanfeng mention the Song family, he quickly stood up to express his attitude. Sure enough, after Lu Yuanfeng heard Song Qingming say this so decisively, he nodded with satisfaction and continued, "The second thing is that fellow Taoist Jin of Qifengling has made a decision. They will leave King County, and the shares in King Hefeng will also be withdrawn this time. From now on, they will be directly handed over to fellow Taoist Song. Do you have any objections? Our King Hefeng has been around for hundreds of years, and the rules have always been like this. It doesn't affect anyone if someone withdraws and someone else takes over immediately. Naturally, my Wang family has no objection to this." The first to speak was Wang Shengxin, a master who had reached the 9th level of foundation building. After hearing Wang Shengxin's words, Gao Jin and Lu Xingde looked at each other and nodded without expressing their opinions. Since this would not affect their interests, they naturally would not object. Seeing that everyone had agreed, Lu Yuanfeng said, "The last thing is that because the 5-year agreement has expired, King Hefeng needs to replace the new garrison cultivators. Except for fellow Taoist Song who has just arrived, everyone knows this. I will not say much, and I hope you all understand." Seeing that everyone had agreed, Wang Shengxin said, "Speaking of which, it happens that it is our Wang family's turn to be the garrison cultivator this time. I have an unwelcome request, and I would like to ask fellow Taoist Song if you can help me. What can you help with?" "Fellow Taoist Wang, please speak frankly." Song Qingming looked at Wang Shengxin with some surprise, as if he didn't understand what he meant. Wang Shengxin replied, "I will go into seclusion again, and the several spiritual veins in the clan must be left unguarded. I would like to ask Brother Song to help take over the duty of King Hefeng for a few years. After I come out of seclusion, I will help you return it. Is this possible?" Song Qingming asked Lu Yuanfeng with some confusion. Lu Yuanfeng smiled and said, "This kind of situation has happened before. As long as there is no problem between your two families, I only need to change the person who registered. Please rest assured, this is not a big problem. Well, if there is no other impact, I have no objection to this, and I am willing to exchange with Brother Wang." One of the best things about helping to guard King Hefeng for Song Qingming is that he can immediately have a second-level spiritual vein for cultivation. Although the second-level spiritual vein in King Hefeng supports many cultivators, it is a genuine second-level medium-grade spiritual vein. It is not a problem to support 1 or 2 foundation-building cultivators. Now that the Wang family has taken the initiative to propose to exchange guard time with the Song family, this has greatly alleviated Song Qingming's urgent need for a suitable second-level spiritual vein cultivator. Song Qingming estimated that the Wang family must have done this on purpose to thank the Song family for not interfering with them in seizing the Qingming spiritual vein. Compared to getting a complete second-level spiritual vein, the Wang family is making a profit in this deal. After Wang Shengaiyu paid homage to the mountain, many nearby Qi Refining and Immortal cultivating families all ran to Funiu Mountain to congratulate Song Qingming on his successful foundation building. As expected, they received a message from the Jin family later, but in order not to cause unnecessary trouble, the Song family did not reply to them. Since he had promised the Wang family not to get involved in this matter, regardless of whether the other party had sent people to keep an eye on Funiu Mountain, Song Qingming would not choose to meet the Jin family cultivators at this time. Otherwise, if the Wang family knew about this matter in the future, the Song family would be in trouble. Lu Yuanfeng finished his 3 things smoothly, and seeing that nothing had happened, he was naturally very happy. He had nothing else to do next, so he directly called the disciples below, brought spiritual fruits and fragrant tea to entertain everyone. Chapter 149 Marriage. After leaving the meeting hall of King Hefang, Song Qingming had just returned to the Song family shop and was about to send a message to his family about what happened today. Before he could walk into the door of the shop, a cultivator in ordinary clothes suddenly stopped him at the door. "Senior Song, I am Wang Xianlong, the junior of my family, and my family head invites you. Please follow me to Huxianlao." The person who spoke was a middle-aged cultivator. His cultivation was not low and he had already cultivated to the 8th level of Qi Refining. Song Qingming had met this person a few years ago and knew that he was a cultivator of the Wang family of Funiu Mountain. Then lead the way, Song Qingming came to King Hefang this time and wanted to meet Wang Shengxin alone. Since the Wang family had already taken the initiative to come to the door, he might as well go there first. Huxianlao is the largest restaurant in King Hefang. Although the great inside is not as good as Xianfang Lao and Yianfang, there are several delicious spiritual foods that taste very good. When Song Qingming was hanging around in King Hefang, he often came here secretly to have a bite, so he was quite familiar with this place. Following Wang Xianlong, Song Qingming went directly to the 2nd floor of Huxin building and came to a relatively secret private room. As soon as he entered the room, he smelled a delicious fragrance. He saw that there were already several people sitting in the private room. In addition to Wang Shengxin, the head of the Wang family, and Wang Shengaiyu, the foundation building elder of the Wang family, whom he had met, there was also a very pretty young woman. Judging from her clothes, she seemed to be a cultivator of the Wang family. What surprised him most was that his 6th uncle, Song Changfeng, the head of the Song family, was also sitting here, chatting and laughing with the Wang family. "Fellow Taoist Qingming, come and sit down quickly. We are waiting for you." As soon as he saw Song Qingming and Wang Xianlong come in, Wang Shengaiyu, with a smile on her face, quickly stood up and greeted Song Qingming. After Song Qingming sat down, he was about to ask Song Changfeng with a puzzled look on his face when he came to King Hefang. But before he could finish his words, Wang Shengaiyu on the side said to him again, "Fellow Taoist Qingming, I heard that you love the Qi and Crucian carp in Huxin Tower the most. A few days ago, I specially asked someone to bring 2 better quality Crucian carps from the clan to thank you for your help to our Wang family last time. Come and taste it and see how it tastes." The help Wang Shengaiyu mentioned naturally refers to the Song family not getting involved in the affairs of Qingming. At that time, apart from the Song family, it was difficult for the Jin family to find a suitable person to take over in a short period of time. Directly reselling to the Wang family was naturally Jin Guanggao's best choice. Looking at the fragrant and delicious spiritual food on the table, Song Qingming couldn't help but stretched out his chopsticks to taste a bite, and slowly said, "It is indeed a delicacy in the world. I didn't expect that. I have come to Huxin Tower several times, but I have never tasted such delicious spiritual food. It's really a waste of these times. The Wang family has many industries in King Hefang, and Huxin Tower is just one of them. Wang Shengxin specially invited him here. Naturally, he has secretly investigated him recently and knew that Song Qingming likes the spiritual food here." Wang Shengaiyu smiled and said, "Today's delicacies are all prepared by my granddaughter. I hope you are satisfied." Following the direction of Wang Shengaiyu's jade hand, Song Qingming realized that the delicacies on the table were actually prepared by the pretty girl sitting next to him. He couldn't help but look at her twice. He didn't expect such a pretty girl to have such good spiritual cooking skills. This is too much trouble for you, Wang Taoist. I am not very firm in my Taoism and I am a little greedy. I really made you laugh, Song Qingming replied modestly. There are 3,000 great ways in the world of immortal cultivation. It is not only through hard practice that cultivators like us can achieve enlightenment. The key to whether one's heart of Tao is firm lies in one's original heart. Tens of thousands of years ago, our Donghuang immortal state's ancestor Xianrang secluded himself for more than 300 years to study and research in order to brew a jar of immortal wine before he succeeded. Afterwards, he still achieved enlightenment and ascended to heaven. This shows that things like wine, sex, money and anger have never been obstacles to our path. Wang Shengxin, who was speaking, took the lead in tasting the delicious Qi Refinement carp on the table. Song Qingming nodded and said, I have only been practicing Taoism for a few decades, and my understanding of Taoism is far behind that of the two Taoist friends. It is indeed a great opportunity for me to come here today to ask for advice from the two seniors. Now that you and I are both foundation-building cultivators, it goes without saying that we can ask for advice. It is also a rare thing to sit together and exchange our cultivation experiences. Having said that, Song Qingming would naturally not miss this opportunity to ask for advice. Next, Song Qingming and the two of the Wang family tasted delicious food and spiritual wine while discussing some of the puzzles in their cultivation. Several key refining cultivators, including Song Changfeng, also pricked up their ears. The scene of several foundation-building cultivators exchanging their cultivation experiences was not something they had the opportunity to encounter at any time. This was also a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them. Everyone seemed to have forgotten the time, and only ended the discussion when there were few dishes left on the table. During this period, Song Qingming also benefited a lot. The two of the Wang family, especially Wang Shengxin, had many unique insights into the understanding of cultivation techniques. After this exchange, Song Qingming finally understood Wang Shengxin, the head of the Wang family. This person is indeed the first genius in Qing County in the past few hundred years. He has the qualification of 2 spiritual roots and successfully built a foundation before the age of 30. After building the foundation, he has been practicing for less than 100 years and has successfully cultivated to the peak of the 9th level of the foundation. He is one of the few people in Qing County in the past 1,000 years of history who has the most hope of forming a pill. Thank you to Taoist friends for your advice. If there is anything that Song needs in the future, I will definitely not refuse. Wang Shengai on the side waved his hand and said, fellow Taoist Song is a guest today, so there is no need to be so polite. I wonder if you are satisfied with the taste of this Qi Refinement carp today. Thanks to the blessings of the Taoist friends, these spiritual foods today are indeed rare delicacies. It's a pity that I am short of money now. I will definitely visit you again when I have more money. When he heard Wang Shengai mention the spiritual food on the table, Song Qingming instinctively said what he really thought. Wang Shengai rolled her eyes when she heard this and continued, if you want to try it again, I have a good idea that will give you the best of both worlds. Would you like to listen to it? Please tell me, fellow Taoist. Song Qingming couldn't help but feel a little confused when he heard Wang Shengai's words, but he couldn't resist the temptation of the food just now, and blurted out a sentence. It's like this, my Wang family intends to form an alliance with a Song family. Today, I invited young friend Chang Fang to come here to discuss this matter. If you don't mind, fellow Taoist Song, you can take a look at my granddaughter. If she can follow you, you will have such delicious spiritual food at your fingertips in the future. Marriage. Chapter 150 Sacrifice. Hearing the word marriage from Wang Shengaiyu's mouth, Song Qingming was really caught off guard, and his body could not help but freeze on the spot. He glanced at the pretty girl sitting next to him, but saw that she looked a little nervous, but not surprised. She must have known about this for a long time. This is not the first time that the Wang and Song families have married in the past 200 years. Looking back, several people from my Wang family have married into the Song family. I remember that grandmother Xianlong married into your Song family, but in the past few decades, the two families have visited less and less. Now that fellow Taoist Song and my Xian are destined to be together, we have the opportunity to continue the relationship between the two families. This can be regarded as a further step in the relationship between our two families, Seeing that Wang Shengyu had already spoken, Wang Shengxin nodded and agreed. What the two Daoists said is also for the relationship between our two families to be closer. Qingming naturally has no objection to this. It's just that I have just established my foundation and it is time to concentrate on cultivation. Daoist Xian followed me, and now I am afraid that she will be wronged. If the two families want to marry, can we consider other brothers and sisters in the family? Since the Song family moved to Qing County 200 years ago, the Wang and Song families have indeed married several times, but those were all the Song family's initiative to marry the female cultivators of the family to the Wang family. The purpose is self-evident, that is, to get closer to the Wang family, the main family, in exchange for more protection. Now the Wang family wants to marry their own cultivators to the Song family. The purpose is also very obvious. In addition to winning him over, another point is that they want to keep an eye on Song Qingming and keep an eye on their Song family. For this, Song Qingming is naturally a little unwilling. Hearing that Song Qingming seemed a little unhappy, Wang Shengyu frowned and said slowly, "It's not impossible for our Wang family to change someone, but we just discussed it with fellow Taoist Changfen. Apart from you, your Song family can't find a suitable candidate for the time being, so we considered you." Fellow Taoist Changfeng has said before that fellow Taoist Song is not married yet, and I haven't heard that he has someone he likes. He is the most suitable person for our two families to marry. Of course, if fellow Taoist Song doesn't want to, he can just say it directly. We, as elders, can't force him. Don't you think so, fellow Taoist Changfeng? Song Changfeng hurriedly and nervously said, "What Senior Wang said is right. It's also my fault that I didn't tell Qingming earlier. This matter concerns the future relationship between our two families. Now that things have come to this point, we must not give up. Senior, why don't you give me 2 days to let us discuss this matter? I will give you a satisfactory answer as soon as possible." "That's fine. We will stay in Qinghefeng for 2 more days and wait for good news from you too." After leaving Huxianlao, Song Qingming followed Song Changfeng and returned to the Song family shop with a depressed look on his face. He knew from the beginning that it was very strange for sixth uncle to appear there. He didn't expect that the two old guys from the Wang family would set their sights on him so quickly. In addition, sixth uncle sold all his old things in advance, which really made him encounter a troublesome thing. "Qingming, sixth uncle knows that you are used to being alone and don't want others to drag you down, but this time for the sake of the Song family, I can only wrong you for a while." After Song Changfeng came back, he immediately pulled Song Qingming into a secret room alone and persuaded him. Song Qingming asked somewhat puzzledly, "Sixth uncle, why are the others not suitable? Eldest brother, fifth brother, and sixth brother are all unmarried. Why doesn't the Wang family like them, Alice? Things are not as simple as you think. You also know what status the Wang family has in Qing County. In the past, when our family and the Wang family were married, we always married into their family. This time, except for you, it is impossible for the other party to be willing to marry into our family. If you really don't want to, we can only choose one person to marry to and settle the matter." Song Changfeng touched his forehead, shook his head sadly and continued, "The reason why I agreed to put you in a difficult position before was that I really had no choice. There was no suitable person in the Chang generation, and the Xin generation were too young. If I wanted to choose someone to marry, I could only choose from your generation. Except for those who are already married, I really can't bear to let any of the remaining ones go. Your second sister Qingwen's alchemy skills are our family's treasure. The family has trained her for many years. The Qinghefang business is counting on her in the future. How can we give it to others so easily? Not to mention the 10th sister Qingyu. With her spiritual root qualifications and your support in the future, she may have the opportunity to build a foundation. The 14th sister Qingxi has some talent in formation. As long as he is trained patiently, he will definitely reach the level of the third uncle in the future. I really don't want to give away any of Qingming and the other 3. Sixth uncle, you are right. I think too much about myself. Without the family's blessing for me for so many years, how could I have achieved what I have now? Besides, the Wang family has been planning this for a long time. They also know that we have no choice." After Song Qingming finished speaking, he sighed helplessly. Song Changfeng nodded, and said with a smile, "You don't have to look so bitter. I think the girl from the Wang family is really good, and she is also a good spiritual cook. The person chosen this time is also a great honor to you, When Song Qingming heard Song Changfang mention the girl from the Wang family at the dinner table, her pretty face appeared in his eyes again. To be honest, Song Qingming didn't have much resistance to her. He just felt that he had some secrets that couldn't be known casually. Having someone from the Wang family stay by his side made him more or less worried. Now, as the sixth uncle said, if he didn't sacrifice him, then the second sister and Qinggai would have to be sacrificed. From the perspective of the Song family, Song Qingming was naturally very unwilling. Both of them had to make sacrifices. In the end, he couldn't be so selfish. He was now a foundation-building cultivator. If he really didn't want to make sacrifices, even the clan leader Song Changfang couldn't force him to make a choice. Sixth uncle, the Wang family arranged for her to come here, probably to monitor me. I agree to the marriage, but there is no rush to get married. Please help me find a reason to postpone this matter to 2 years later, and give me some time to think about how to deal with it. Song Changfang nodded thoughtfully and said, okay. I'll go and talk about it. After the uncle and nephew discussed it, Song Changfang went to Huxin Tower to report to the Wang family the next day. What Song Qingming never expected was that when Song Changfang came back, he actually brought back the woman Wang Xian who was going to marry him next. If there's any mistake, correct it immediately. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.